suppose we should get going.
Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, good morning. What's happening, everybody? It is Monday. Dex and Steve-O, Morning Invasion, live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
Yes.
What's up, Starmy? How you doing? How was your weekend?
It's good. Ramona says good morning. Good to see y'all back.
Good morning.
Hey, Ramona.
What's happening, guys? Cynthia? Sam? David?
Living the dream.
We're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can go and watch the show, Star 88. And if you're watching us right now, you notice we got a guest in the background. His name's James.
Whoa, hi.
Don't know his last name.
I don't have one, actually.
Sam on Facebook Live said, "Who's the Latino Santa?"
The Latino Santa.
Do you have any Latino in you at all?
Zero.
Yeah, I was like,
Zero.
what?
Zero.
Maybe it's because we're in New Mexico. They assume you're New Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm the newest kind of Mexican.
Yeah.
Zero Latino.
You know who you look like right now is one of the guys from Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, one guy with a beard. That's what I always get. You know who you look like is
guy
my
with
cousin. Here's a picture of him.
Yep.
He's got a beard. Don't
Yeah.
you look just like him? And it's like, no. Not really.
It's a beautiful beard, man.
Dude.
I grew it myself.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this.
I'm excited.
This has been fun. So, James
Yeah, you
Mean.
should explain.
Yes.
I'm not Santa.
I was feeling the need for mead, and of the James variety. So, my buddy James here, he plays guitar in a little band you may have heard of. Oh, nice. I like what you did there. Cutlass.
Oh, Cutlass. That's right.
So he plays guitar in this band. And you guys played a show in Ruidoso on Friday.
Sure did.
How was that?
It was fantastic, man.
Inn of the
It
Mountain
was
Gods.
really cool. Yeah, Inn of the Mountain Gods in Mescalero.
Yeah.
Beautiful resort. Really,
Yeah.
really cool, man. And they took great care of us.
Yeah.
You know what's really cool? I actually lived in Ruidoso for a little while
This
with
is
my
crazy.
grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was such a cool little town. I moved there when I was like 11, and so
Okay.
I went to 6th grade there at the middle school in Ruidoso.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Oregon the next year. But it was cool to be back. My grandparents were there.
Yeah.
And then we drove to Albuquerque the next day and got to see my family here in Rio Rancho and stuff
Heck yeah.
too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you're staying with me.
You're staying.
You're
Yeah.
stuck.
That's right.
So,
Man, life on the road, man. It's like you have probably friends in every city that you can
Yeah,
camp out with.
some I try to just like fly in under the radar. And then so I get the text the next day, dude, you were here? Oh yeah, I was. Totally spaced. That you were there. But you know, to be totally honest, Steve and I have been friends for such a long time.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we genuinely and generally just keep in touch
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
plus there's some things bubbling under the surface in my life that we've
Yeah,
been
man.
chatting about the last couple
cool.
weeks. So
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
It's good to have you here.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's been exciting. So
Thank you.
anyways,
Welcome.
yeah.
I'm welcoming you guys.
Dude, so you live out in Portlandia.
I live in Portland.
And
true.
it's been interesting because the cultures are like pretty different, I've noticed, right?
Different than New Mexico.
Than New Mexico. Like a different
No
city.
brown people up there, right?
Oh man,
None.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portland's cool though.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I don't know how I've never been. My sister
Oh, it's
lived in
beautiful.
Portland.
It's
My
a
sister
beautiful
lived
city.
there, and I've never
Yeah.
been to Oregon, anywhere in Oregon.
So the show you referenced, Portlandia,
Yeah.
I hate to say, is so incredibly accurate.
Really?
I've
It's
never watched it.
so accurate. It's
Okay.
scary.
Okay.
Dude, Portland is the weirdest.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Okay.
Is it like Seattle or is it completely different? Kind of like San Diego is to LA?
Yeah,
completely different?
They're different. You know, okay, they're similar in that like it's just sort of a regional thing, like
Yeah.
the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You know, for sure, Seattle and Portland are similar. Portland's pretty different though. Portland, especially when I first moved there, like 2001, I would have described Portland as like this chilled out old hippie, and now. Over the last decade, we've kind of been flip-flopping for the #1 position, but the most people moving to a
Oh,
city
wow.
in the U.S. every year.
That
We're like
sounds
-- on the list. So
claustrophobic-
yeah.
claustrophobic
So
and
since
scary.
I've lived there since 2001, the population has seriously like tripled, and it's just packed with all these people who aren't Portlanders.
Right.
And
Those
so
Californians.
it's really, yeah, primarily for sure, but definitely just all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really honestly like changed the culture because now, there's
Yeah.
so many people. The Portland culture has totally changed. It used to be this chilled out old hippie, and now it's just like this, if I would characterize it again, it's like this angry, offended person. Like
Oh.
everyone is obsessed with being offended up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking for any reason to just give you their 2 cents.
Those
What happens
liberals,
when
man.
that's
Those
what
liberals.
happens when you mix cultures, man. God was like, "Listen, Israel, you
Yeah.
don't
Hey.
mix with them Philistines, bro."
Bringing it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
That's good.
Can't use my line, James.
That's right.
You say bring it back? Nice.
Bring it back, Steve-O.
Just bring it back.
Bring it back. Come on.
But Portland is really cool. Super outdoorsy. Yes, it rains all the time. But when it's nice, it's the nicest place ever.
Really?
Yeah, and
And when he says that, he means it. Yesterday, he got after me. One thing that you'll learn is James is very intentional with his language. Yesterday, I said somebody was the raddest dude ever, and he was like, "Okay, come on."
you
The
can't.
raddest dude.
I've certainly
Drax.
heard you say that about a couple other people, though. So, like, that person you just spoke of can't actually be the raddest because you already said that one. So, what bothers me is like the prevalence of superlatives in our society right now. It's just like a very cultural thing to be like, "Isn't that the best?" Whoa.
That's Steve-O language. Every movie is his favorite movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, no, you got to pick one.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's how this works. I knew a person back home. Every person that comes through, she's my best friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd be like, no,
Yeah.
that's not how that works.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pick one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, none of them are your best friend. It's an
I
honor.
love that.
dude, that's how we like bonded back in the day. So, my buddy Jeff, Jeff Saved the Storks.
Yeah.
Jeff Hefe was the drummer for the time, or at the time for Cutlass, and they came through. And so I was hanging with Hefe in the bus, and he came out, and we had never really connected. I didn't really know James or the band for that matter. It was like Jeff was brand new in the band, so it was kind of like, and he asked me this question, and he was like, "Hey, what are your top 10 favorite albums?" And I was like, already going, "Ooh," and then he goes, "And why?"
Oh, wow.
And why?
And
It's very important.
why? And I was like,
Ugh.
It's very important.
"Oh,
I need like a year to answer
Yeah.
that.
So when you only have like 5 minutes,
Oh.
a good replacement question is, what's your favorite color and why?
yeah."
Or what's your favorite sound and why?
And he just really
I
like
love those.
seriously, he
Yeah.
loves it. And
Because I
was
don't
just
care
like,
about your answer. I care about watching you explain.
Yeah.
Because that reveals a lot to me about people. And I love that's the important part to me. I want to know why something is important
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
He made me like really think about it, and I was like, "Oh, I can't just spit out like 15 albums and realize I those aren't 10, and what's my number one?"
Yeah.
So it was it was pretty great. And so since then, I mean, we've just been bros.
We are bros.
What's your why?
Of what? I need parameters.
Answer it.
What's
your why?
Jesus.
Why do you wake up every
Jesus
day?
is my why.
Yes, dude.
You know, what's your why to just get out of bed every day?
Man.
My alarm clock,
Yeah, there
usually.
you go.
Yeah.
We got James from Cutlass hanging out with us. And good morning, Starmy. You guys can chime in 505-585-LIVE. That's our live line number. You can text in.
Yeah.
You can also call in 505-338-3700. And like we said, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. And you can chime in there, Star 88 FM.
Gosh, dude. Thebes just chimed in and said, "I had a 1978 Cutlass Supreme. It was baby blue."
Ooh.
That's fantastic. We're not named after the car, but I love that.
I don't even know if I know the
You
band,
don't?
like
You
the
wanna know?
why.
Okay.
Yes.
All right,
Why
cool.
did you name your band Cutlass?
Okay. We were going through our recording contract, the process with Tooth and Nail,
Okay.
which is also a Pacific Northwest
Yeah.
music label. Had a lot of great bands over the years. So anyway, in 2001, we got signed to Tooth and Nail Records, and we were going through the process of, our contract and everything. And our name prior to Cutlass was Callbox.
I love that.
Yeah. And it was actually already trademarked and registered.
Really?
And we were like, huh. So we just kind of had this opportunity for a fresh start, you know? And when I joined the band, we had we had almost completely shifted our musical direction too.
Yeah.
Because the band I was in prior to Cutlass was even more hard rock than what you've heard from Cutlass over the years.
Yeah.
So the guys I grew up with in the band, they wanted me to join, and I did, and we were Callbox for like half a month. And then, we were going through the process of changing, and we were just like, you know what, this is a fresh start. Let's just make up, we're a new band, this is a new name, what's important to us. And so we felt like it would be a really cool thing to be able to tell people about our faith in Christ and the experience of salvation, even if they weren't necessarily at our show or listening to our albums.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be very true, because a lot of what we do is like we're sitting at a gate at an airport and we've got guitar bags, and so people go, hey, are you guys a band?
Right.
And so then we get to talk to them too about Jesus.
Yeah.
So what Cutlass means in a nutshell is, because of the sacrifice of Christ, and because he does take away the sins of the world, and he presents us as without blemish to his Father, we are all Cutlass because Christ took our cuts for us on the cross. So we are all believers are Cutlass. We are presented to God the Father as without blemish because we are robed in Christ's righteousness.
That's cool.
I had no
And then
idea.
The K part, it was,
Because you love corn.
It was the early aughts. And it was like the new rock moniker.
Right,
kind of
right.
thing.
A little
So
different.
we were like, with a K. Actually, we tried, we made up a mock design on a t-shirt with a C. And we're just like, that just looks real dumb.
Yeah.
So we changed it to a K. And then after like our first album blew up, which was nuts, we discovered that our band name is actually a dirty word in the Dutch language.
No!
Yes. So we were being interviewed by international press, and they were like, so, is actually a very dirty word in our language. And we were like, of course we don't know that. Why would we know that? So, yeah.
No
That's something you don't
way!
think about, I bet, when
No.
you're naming a band.
No.
Is,
Right.
Man, we should
Yeah.
Google this to make sure.
Yeah.
Well, they probably didn't have
Well, I was
Google
going to
back
say
in the
it's
day.
2001,
We were-
so...
Yeah, we were prior to iTunes, iPods, all that stuff came out
Crazy.
and changed the world. right
That's
after, man.
Insane.
Yeah, people were just starting to use Pro Tools when we made our
man,
first
no
album
way.
with
Gosh, man.
when we made our first album with Aaron Sprinkle, he was explaining Pro Tools to us, just like, yeah, I've just been starting to use this. It was nuts.
That's
man.
crazy,
Times
dude.
have changed.
Yeah, we live in a pretty cool time to be
Yeah.
alive, because
Yeah.
just thinking about, we grew up when the internet first started.
Yeah.
The internet is probably the greatest thing that's ever. I shouldn't say the greatest. say the greatest.
Literally,
Superlative.
literally the greatest invention in the history of ever. Okay, tell me your top 5 greatest inventions and why.
Okay, let me tell you. Let me start with
The automobile.
Yeah.
the microwave, DVRs.
The microwave, because when I was a kid in the 80s and I had to nuke a microwave dinner
Yep.
with a little brownie that stayed the
Oh
exact
my
temperature
gosh.
of lava. Just so I could watch Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just going back, the internet. Think about our kids and their kids down the road. I mean, that's going to be something that they're going to be talking about. It's like, wow, it's like the internet was spawned.
Totally.
Like Al Gore invented the internet.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you mentioned the fact, like, when Cutlass started 2001, iPods, everything, and changing stuff. I'm trying to remember the last time, or if ever, my children have bought an album. Like, everything's just instant with, like, Apple Music or whatever. It's just, there it is. Like, I can't think of a time
Well, plus
where
our
they
kids
have
are
that
at
experience.
an age. Our kids are at an age right now where they're kind of just listening to whatever we put on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I haven't really seen my son yet, even though when I was at his age, I did, which shows a difference in the cultural times. I haven't really seen my son like choose his own music to turn on or whatever. Like, at that age, I was definitely discovering, like, okay, these are my bands that I like.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Gosh, dude.
Yeah, now that you brought that up, my kids have
Like-
never went out and bought a CD.
I remember being a kid and standing in line, like waiting for the release of certain things.
Did y'all have Tower here?
Well,
You have Tower
no,
Records here?
we had
What was like the place where you went to camp out to go get the new Limp
Hastings
Bizkit
was
Sam
CD?
Goody.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we had a Sam Goody.
Okay.
But Hastings was the midnight release.
the midnight release
Yeah.
place. Like I
Okay.
remember camping out there for your favorite band all time, Dave Matthews Band.
Shout, 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 shout.
Portland guy, we were talking, and I'm like, dude, loves me some Dave Matthews, and then it was like,
Yeah.
sorry.
I can't. Yeah. Here's the thing. Dave Matthews music is just fine. Okay.
No, it's not.
It's the fans.
Yeah.
Dude, and when they all converge upon
Are they crazy?
the poor little city of Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Are they very granola hippie?
Yeah, but we're used to that. That's everybody.
Yeah. Hey, I guess
it's-
you're right up there.
I don't know what it is. It's super obnoxious.
Joey's
though.
the same way about that though, because he can't stand that aspect of it, the fans. Because
About
Joey Belleville,
DMB?
yeah, totally. Because I was just like, he played that line different, like, and they're all like, it's like weird, and I get it.
A lot
I
of fish
get
fans.
it.
A lot of fish fans at Dave
So-
Matthews Band
I
concerts.
don't-
probably.
Probably. I don't know. I try and stay far away.
Yeah.
I don't ask them the why. I don't ask. I don't care. Don't.
But
Oh,
why?
Sound Warehouse. I forgot about Sound Warehouse.
We didn't
That's
have
like
all those
did
up in
someone-
that's
Montana.
like
Did
way
someone
back
chime
in the
in?
day. Yeah,
Sound
dude.
Warehouse.
So, Bernadette says, my son told me one time, wow, Mom, you were alive in the 1900s? That's crazy,
crazy,
to think
man.
about.
That's
Like,
crazy.
Totally. Yeah.
So, but yeah, our kids will never have that. I remember camping out midnight, like for a Dave record, for like, there's certain records that I just remember camping out
Right.
for that experience and the excitement of it. And now it's like the singles out or the music video, and everybody's
Yeah.
watching everything on YouTube anyways.
Or
ahead of
camping out to
time.
go get a concert ticket. You know, you
Dude.
used to have
Yeah.
to go and
It's
stand in
impossible
line.
now.
Yeah.
Like you with the Pearl Jam thing.
Oh
right?
my gosh, yeah. Yeah, it is impossible now because scalpers or whatever, or the prices. So we
Yeah.
mentioned this last week. Phil Collins, unretired, and I was one of the people that jumped on the pre-sale for it, and I got in on the pre-sale. And I'm like, dude, I just fifth row floor, $700 for a pair of tickets. And I'm like, that's stupid. That's like a trip to Disneyland, like for the whole family.
But
Like,
here's what I got to
can't
experience.
believe that.
I got to experience Steve-O, which, as a guy,
Yeah,
we don't make very smart decisions
We don't.
financially a lot of times.
we don't.
And so I think most of the time when you, in that situation where Phil Collins is your favorite,
Yeah.
you just buy the tickets.
Right.
And then you pay the consequences,
Later.
the wrath of the wife
yes.
or whatever. You called Chrissy.
I did. I called her
It was
immediately.
like, talk me out of it.
Yeah.
Talk me out of it. I'm like, wow, you were just growing in the
I'm
Lord.
just growing, guys. I'm
That's-
growing. I want to be a good steward of the money I've been given.
Right.
That's years of
Good.
experience.
I want to
right
be
there.
a steward of my money.
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil Collins.
James from
Couldn't do
Cutlass
it.
is hanging out with us in studio. If
Dude.
If you're wondering who that
He
guy
is?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now I will say this: there are certain bands that, in turn, will go old school. So there are a few bands right now. I won't name them, but years ago, the Foo Fighters they did a thing where you had to go to the box office to get a ticket to kind of like bring back the nostalgia, but
Yeah.
also to kind of take it away from the scalpers
Yeah.
because Ticketmaster doesn't know what to do as far as like scalping tickets. And we talked about this last week. They want to do a facial recognition for your ticket to where your face is your ticket, but what happens if you have to sell it? What happens if you want to transfer?
Right,
What happens?
car
if,
accident.
Yeah, like something happens. Yeah,
And your face looks different.
And you're-
Yeah. I used to have this face on this card, but then I got in an accident.
Yeah.
And I really want to see this band because it'll make me feel better. That's a rough life.
so I don't know what they're gonna do, but there are a couple bands that just announced tours that's it. They said box office only, and that's kind of the only way to. But
Yeah.
if it's not the city, because that's where I fell into Pearl Jam or a couple other bands,
You know
They're
how
not
we
close
decided
to
to
us.
fix that problem?
huh?
This is a hard segue, by the way. In 2012, we started a nonprofit evangelistic ministry called End of the Age Ministries.
Yes.
And what we really felt like God was telling us to do was to use our platform to be able to reach as many people as we could to do so through the means of fundraising to make our concerts free, actually.
No way.
What we do when we are able to function as our nonprofit doing the Cutlass shows, when we do those events, they're just entirely free to the public. And we do them in a neutral area, like an open city park.
Yeah.
So everyone can come.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
And we've had a lot of just, I mean, I really can't even put the right words to it, but let's just say incredible experiences, including getting to go overseas to like former Soviet countries like Ukraine primarily, and a couple other countries, Belarus, Czech Republic. And, you know, that allows us to just work openly in these towns, doing ministry of evangelism, and, you know, 25,000 people show up, and we get to tell them about the Lord and play some rock songs.
That's
it's pretty
crazy,
fun.
dude.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've done that a little bit here in the States too, but yeah, that's kind of our passion.
Gosh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, is it, you know, do you guys do a lot of evangelizing and talking to people before the show, or do you find it afterwards?
Sure, good question. You know, the concerts themselves, a concert does not really create the intimacy of what produces genuine and sustainable discipleship.
Yeah.
You know, because now you have that barrier of like they were watching you on stage and you're this, you're a thing to them. You're not like the person who's going to just walk with them through life's faith journeys, you know? So what we do, because we understand that that's kind of inevitable for us when we're functioning in that paradigm. But what we do is we go to the communities months in advance. Like if we know we're going to have, for instance, let's say Albuquerque. I mean, we would love to do a fun outreach concert here in the ABQ. So like if we came here, we would come here months in advance, and we would meet up with like a local, we would call like host or anchor church. And we would ask them on our behalf to invite the local churches in the community to try and get like interdenominational unity too, so that everyone's working together to bless the city. And so we would host like a little kind of a leadership seminar.
Yeah.
And we would talk them through what the event itself is going to look like and how we hope to take the next couple months to invite people. And then we actually designed an app as well that's available on all app stores. It's called EOTA Respond, and EOTA as in End of the Age Ministries. And so we use our app during the show. It actually interacts in real time with our show, and it's sort of the response mechanism, quote unquote. So the app becomes a tool for discipleship with the new believers and with these people that came to our leadership seminars.
Cool. Yeah.
So the app itself facilitates kind of hooking people up together via common interests. Like you kind of build sort of a like a almost a Pinterest style, like these are my interests, you know, I'm into skateboarding and like, you know, cars and like outdoors stuff. So you would get partnered up with someone who like shares that kind of similar interest, someone that came to the leadership seminar. And so then there's a function that allows people to meet up for discipleship.
Wow.
And so there's 52 topics, which is obviously once a week for a whole year. There's these 52 discipleship topics. So every week we want to try and facilitate that ongoing, sustainable kind of discipleship tool so that people can really invest in each other one-on-one, you know, because at that point when we're on stage, we no longer have the power really to do, I mean, realistically, to do the one-on-one thing. But we can empower this community to do that and then come back. And we try and do cycles of 3. So we come back to the same place 3 times. And just to really like check in and see how that community
How long
is
you been
now
doing
building.
that now?
So since 2012 is when we started EOTA.
And how's it been going? Is it
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is we feel like that concept, when we explain that, people are like, yeah, dude, I love your guys' hearts. And like, seriously, no one, I'm not even joking. Like we do not get funding. I do not understand. Like no one has really, and not no one, because I don't want to disparage like the people that have helped us, but it's been like incremental, like, oh, here's $1,000.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you.
Yeah.
But $1,000 is really not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And I hate that because like then because most people are like, well, how can I help? I can't do more than that. I would say ongoing monthly giving would be the biggest help. If we had a large platform of people doing that, and then the flash of lightning type people that are like, oh, I can write you a check for $100,000. Here you go. That would be amazing.
Right.
But in spite of all that, because that's the logistics behind that, and God will work that out whenever He needs to send us.
Yeah.
And when He has needed to send us forth to do that, miraculously, without any funding coming in, somehow everything gets paid for.
That's incredible,
These 2 tours that we've done over in Ukraine, the first year was 2015. And the first tour was 6 cities, and we played in Kiev, the capital, twice. So 7 shows, 6 cities. And it was the largest evangelical outreach events in the history of Ukraine ever.
Wow.
And we were the first band, the first people even, to ever publicly proclaim the gospel in the capital city.
No way.
And we got to do this. We were invited to perform at what translates in their language to Kiev City Celebration. It's like the anniversary celebration of the founding of the city. And we were there on that day, and they asked us to perform. And so we did, and there was like 10,000 people at this. And we were, the first people ever to publicly proclaim the gospel.
Was there any
of Christ.
fear? I know that sounds like a dumb question,
Sure
but
there
I mean,
was.
as a human, it's
Sure.
like,
But the situation with Ukraine and Russia right now is very difficult to describe. But essentially, the Ukrainians are day in and day out battling for their freedom right now.
Yeah.
They declared independence in 94, I believe. And ever since, they've basically been trying to just keep them at bay and remain independent. And of course, there was the uprising in 2014, the revolution at Maidan, and many of their citizens were killed in the streets right there. And it's just been really kind of a brutal go of things.
Yeah.
Plus, coming out of what we have dubbed the communism hangover, the decades of like spiritual oppression where it was literally illegal for them to have Bibles and to study about Jesus, you know? So what's really interesting about them right now is that their government and their leadership and kind of a national mentality is like, we just want to be the opposite of Russia. Like that's their thing. Like, so their president is like, I just want to do the opposite of whatever Putin says.
Right.
And so like they actually very much welcome evangelism and international like ministries and mission ministries and stuff. So we were essentially free to move about the country doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
However, I mean, we were getting death threats and bombs were going off in the cities that we were in. And, you know, we are not safe. There was one night where we were actually almost arrested and put in jail for sharing the gospel. And we were able to escape, actually. But, I mean, the second tour we did, the next year, we did 11 cities. And the crowds were like 30,000, 25,000. Wow. Like it was nuts. And over there in the U.S., when we share the gospel at our shows, we normally see about 20% or less respond and make decisions to follow Christ.
Yeah.
Over there, on average, it's like 45% of the crowd makes decisions to follow Christ. And remember, we've been coming back.
Right.
And so we check up on them, and their churches are growing there as a result of not only us, but also it spawned a new generation of like youth and like evangelism and like mission-minded people there. And then, for instance, in Czech Republic, when we played on that same tour, they have the highest percentage of atheists out of the entire European population. And 80% of the crowd that night got saved.
No way.
Dude, it literally felt like every person raised their hands. And this wave like knocked me over on stage.
That's crazy.
I just broke down in tears right then and there.
Right?
Yeah.
And like my heart, I love these people.
Yeah.
I love them. I think about my brothers and sisters in Ukraine every day. And it was the first time, you know, I've been all over the world with Cutlass and I love people. So I connect with people everywhere we go. But my first trip to Ukraine was the first time that I genuinely felt like, this is what a missionary feels like in their heart. This is how it feels.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, James from Cutlass is in studio with us. And you guys can chime in 505-585-LIVE, or we're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. You can see James and his beautiful beard. and his cool Joy Division T-shirt.
It's a clip-on beard. I ordered it on Amazon.
That's a realistic beard, man.
You can look just like me.
James' beard from Cutlass.
Dude, yesterday we were in the green room here at Calvary, and Ryan Wiley came down. Ryan Wiley's got another one of those like big old beards,
clip-on
and they
beard,
just happened. They were like standing next to each other as Skip walks in the room, and then Skip just immediately goes, "We're having a beard competition."
He just starts comparing our beards.
And
back
then he's
and
like,
forth.
"Steve-O, get over here." And so we're like judges for
Yeah.
this like beard
that's
competition.
It's like
And I'm
America's
like,
Got Beard.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Simon Cowell over here.
Dude,
is
it
like,
was crazy,
His
so-
beard looks more like a warrior.
That was actually a statement
That's what
yesterday.
Skip said.
That's what's yeah.
But he didn't
yes.
sound British.
No.
That was wrong.
505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. Good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. I just have to say, it as well as one of my favorite renditions that Cutlass does
Cool.
ever
Thank you.
of that song. Beautiful.
Thank you, man.
Dude, yes.
That was a lot of fun to
I
make
had-
that one.
It was very cool to hear that very churchy, etheric atmosphere, and then bring it up to a newer vibe.
Cool. Thank you.
I have a question in terms of going back to the Ukraine.
Okay, first of all, we
It's
can't
kinda-
say
it's kinda hard
the Ukraine. You can't say the Ukraine. It's actually offensive to them because for a long time they were called the Ukraine as if
Really?
it was a like sort of like a slander.
No
thing.
Oh,
way.
Yeah,
That's
because-
real?
Yeah, they were viewed as a territory by Russia, and even when they became independent, they were continually called the Ukraine.
Wow.
So to Ukrainians, please just say Ukraine.
That's crazy.
Continue.
Learn something new every day.
Little history
Learn
lesson.
something new every day.
Continue.
It is internalized. It is Ukraine.
It is.
They are Ukrainians.
That's right.
Wow.
When you go back to Ukraine, it's hard to think about in 2018 that we haven't experienced and contact every culture in the world.
Right.
With Paul, you know, when he's writing letters to these cultures that obviously, one, never heard Jesus before, but two, were still sort of being opened up to the new world, they wrote back to him saying, "What do we do with this? How do we respond to this?"
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a new digital age where you have first contact with cultures that have never experienced this before.
You're right.
You have that kind of experience with Ukrainians about, hey, what are we supposed to do in this situation? How do we respond? What is our Christian duty?
Cool. Great question. Yes, we do. That's the simple first response. We often have the opportunity actually to communicate directly with those fans, and I guess a term would be like the new believers, you know, from the events. But we're also incredibly connected. Like I said, we like to connect with the communities we're going with and have sort of like an anchor church, and then ask them to be representatives on our behalf to the other churches in those communities. What we face as a hardship over in Ukraine is the fact that because religion and faith was so oppressed for so long, they have become incredibly insular with their like operations, and they felt for so long like it was their duty to just preserve their faith and preserve their Christian culture that they're actually just now kind of dabbling in what it means to do outreach themselves. So we try and model that for them, and we try and encourage them to explore that in their own context in their communities. But like I mentioned, and I, you know, you should definitely check this out. There are a lot of people there. There's like a new generation. There's like a revival happening. There's a new generation of people who are kind of taking that charge themselves, doing some really great youth outreach stuff. They have a conference coming up later this year that is translated essentially like the Holy Spirit Conference, and it's kind of a national gathering. I think that it's going to be in Kiev. And so, yeah, be praying for them about that. You know, they are experiencing revival right now, and nothing can stop the Word of God.
That's
so,
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, you said word of God, and not to make you sound irreligious or blasphemous, do you feel now that you're like in the new era of writing gospel? Not that it's going to go into the Bible, but you're
Whoa.
responding with a hermeneutic or theologically how a whole church or how our whole culture is supposed to respond to this new life event, this new life cycle.
It's new to them. It's not new to the dispensational era of grace, though. So I don't think it's anything I'm doing at all. I'm
Phoenix 20 years ago.
I'm a participant. At best, I'm a participant, and I'm glad to be so. But really, my only role, my only job in this is to just be a witness of what Christ has done in my life, and to be a brother to these people. Just encourage them to continually follow after God and to ask the Holy Spirit to be upon them and direct them.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Thanks for calling, man.
Yeah, thanks for the response.
I will see, man.
Okay, James, I'm going to need you to come over to this computer because somebody else just chimed in.
Okay.
They said, this guy's voice is so soft, it's so smooth. I would love to hear him read Good Night Moon. I actually have a copy right here. If you could just the first few lines even. Did you read that to Jacob like back in the day? You've never read Good Night Moon? No. Okay, just
give us a few lines.
Yes.
Okay. And now a reading of Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. In the great green room there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs and 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens and a little toy house and a young mouse and a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush and a quiet old lady who was whispering, hush.
I could do this with my eyes closed.
I
Can
love
you?
that. That was great.
Yes.
I have no knowledge of this
Good
book.
night, room. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. I think it's good night, bears. Good night, chairs. I can't remember.
He peeked.
Dude, when
You peeked.
When Jack and Luke were little, that was like in every night book.
That's amazing.
Good night, moon, man. Read it to Jacob now. He'll still love it, especially with your voice.
Ah, thank you.
It's a soothing voice.
Thanks.
Yesterday, I introduced our buddy James. If you're just joining us, James from Cutlass, one of my besties, yo. He's my best friend.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
I have 12 of them. I have 12 of them. I introduced him to Phoenix, and I was worried about, like, in time traveling movies, if you touch yourself, like the world implodes or something. I was really worried for him to physically touch Phoenix because I thought something was going to happen because this is Phoenix from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they met and then I was like, I've lost him. Because like seriously, that was it for like the next 20 or 30 minutes or so. Yeah. And they were like the big good words. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm writing that down. Intrinsically.
Do you find that you like to spend time with people that are more intellectually, smarter than you? See, I don't even have
More
good...
intellectually smarter than me.
See, yeah. Or do you like to dumb it down and hang with people so you can shine above?
No.
Does it matter?
No, man. Any Enneagram fans out there? Okay, so I'm a type 2, which is called the helper. And my basis of all like functioning throughout the day is I just want to be with people.
Yeah.
I want to, invest in who they are and how they are and what they're going through.
That's cool.
And honestly, man, like I just take it as it comes. Like God puts me in someone's life and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I relish, that's why I like to dig deep with everybody. I relish getting to understand them more. And so whether it's from an outside perspective, like a more intellectual conversation or not, it's all thrilling to me.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, let's.
But
switch
people are also the most frustrating thing on planet Earth.
Don't get me
I
started.
love them.
That's why I
so
don't hang
much,
out with
but
people.
they're also the worst.
That's why I never leave my house unless I have to come to work.
So,
Right. Well, let's talk about that. I want to switch topics for a second because one of my favorite shows on TV, it's Lethal Weapon.
Yes! I'm
And-
so glad we're talking about this.
They've done a really good job with remaking the series, because it started from, the movies back in the 80s, and now they're, let's do Lethal Weapon. We were all like, Lethal Weapon?
we
oh,
were
man,
both so anti. There's no way it's going to be
terrible.
good. It's on Fox. It's a
gonna be
network
awful.
show.
Well, so it's the second season just ended, And I love it. Chrissy, your wife,
Yeah, my wife.
loves
That's
it.
like one of her favorite shows.
Ratings are great on it. And there's an actor on there named Clayne Crawford.
Who is Riggs? I mean, that's
plays
Mel
Riggs.
Gibson's
Yeah,
character.
kind of a crazy cop.
Yeah.
Suicidal at times.
The most important role probably on the show.
Well, there were some rumors going around that he was this terrible person on set.
Yeah.
Like nobody, the cast and crew hated
There
him.
were people who refused to work with him. He was a jerk. Nobody liked being around him. He was like abusive
Right.
verbally to people.
I would imagine he probably thought he had some pretty good job security
Well,
because
yeah, 'cause
he's the main
he's the
guy.
lead.
And
Yeah.
he's the best part about that show.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He just got fired because of
Yeah.
how he treated the cast and crew.
After Fox announced there's already going to be a season 3.
Yeah.
So it got renewed for another season, and then they fired their lead actor.
So going back
Bold
to
move.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, going back to what you're saying about people and man, they,
Being the worst.
maybe you're out there listening right now and maybe you are in that situation now. Maybe you've realized, oh my gosh, I blew it, or I have not been the best. Because the way that he responded, Clayne Crawford, because I guess he tweeted after he got let go. He said, Riggs, this is what he tweeted. Riggs was a dream role, and the experience will live with me forever. My heart is full. Good luck next season. And it's a picture of him.
Like a silhouette.
Yeah, and he's got his head down. And
Gosh,
I'm sure
man.
he's probably pretty crushed. And I was thinking about that because that's those moments in life where life crushes you. Things didn't go the way that you had planned.
They fired Riggs, man.
Right. And
He
that-
should have just claimed he was method acting.
Right?
Yes.
No,
right?
no. I'm just inhabiting the character.
Yeah, because
at all
that's
times.
kind of his character. This crazy, suicidal. Been through a lot. He's a war veteran. I mean, that's obviously not over for this actor. I mean, hopefully he can turn things around and realize, oh my gosh, I can't be like this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they fired him in a way. I feel like because in Hollywood, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Kind of live in a different time now.
Yeah, we're stepping into a new age where there should be, rightfully so, there should be
Yeah.
consequences and discipline. And,
Right.
And
Here's a
think
question
of
though.
another word.
Like
Accountability.
Accountability, like those and I definitely do not ever want to take away from those because God is still a God of justice, right? And so I don't want that to be misunderstood, but as a Christian, where does compassion and love and grace and mercy step in to say you did blow it? You are kind of the worst. But we
Sure.
are all kind of the worst.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's walk together through this because it's a hard, I mean, clearly we don't know what he was involved in. We don't know
Yeah.
what he was doing, but it was bad enough that Fox straight up fired their lead actor from a show, then continued the show without him.
Right.
And they just replaced him with Sean William Scott from American Pie.
Is he your favorite actor?
No! I did love the rundown with The Rock, though. He was hilarious in that.
So here's the thing, though. This is in a professional context.
Yes.
So yes, mercy, patience with people, those are important attributes for us to emulate to the world. But this is in a professional context.
Yeah.
They would be, even scripturally, and I doubt that Fox is spirit-led, but even scripturally, they would be within their rights to remove him and then, but also kind of come alongside him afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be sort
Yeah.
of what we should expect Jesus people to act like.
Jesus people to act like. Because somebody just mentioned Katherine Heigl, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Katherine Heigl was one of the main characters on Grey's Anatomy.
Sure.
And she had the same type of...
Reputation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has been ostracized. She
Yeah.
hasn't really been in anything after they fired her
The
from Grey's
guy,
Anatomy.
the voice of Kermit the Frog. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
He was just this horrible person.
Yeah.
Really?
And they canned him.
Yeah, dude, they
no.
canned,
Yeah.
they canned him.
Little
If you hear
Kermit?
if you
Yeah.
hear Kermit now, it's like, no, not my Kermit. I prefer the jerk.
Hashtag not my Kermit.
Hashtag not my Kermit. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. But I mean, it does. I do like that it shows that no one is above
Yeah.
whatever it is, whether it's the movie, the band, the ministry, like. But it's always hard because you want to have that like, oh, I know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this. let's, like James said, let's walk alongside them after this and help them along. And
Right.
you don't see that either. So it's tough.
This may come as a surprise to you, but I'm way more of like a fire first, compassion later.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in our band, even, my business partner, John Micah, who's the singer of Cutlass, it's really funny because he is one of those like wisdom from the top of a mountain kind of people who's like eternally patient. It's a slow burn, but when it catches up, it's like kaboom.
Yeah.
But me, I'm like just little fiery darts all
I
the
wouldn't
time.
have guessed that at all.
No, I am. I'm always like, no, that guy's done. We're firing him. He's gone now. And then John Micah has to talk me out of it. Like, James, you should probably like, have you prayed about this?
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
always like, grumble.
Yeah.
And
So funny.
it's great though, man. I love being, that's one of the coolest things about being in ministry is when you're paired up with the right people.
Yeah.
And when you're, that's a case of us being equally yoked.
Yeah.
As the Bible says,
Yeah.
and which is really just a word picture in the scripture of us being able to carry the strain together at the same workload.
Yeah.
But we approach it differently, and that's also okay. You know?
Yeah.
And I love that about John Micah and myself. Like, we're very different, but it works.
Yeah, man.
Good.
Ah!
James from Cutlass.
I can't
in
believe we've
studio.
already gone through an hour.
I know.
Whoa!
This is great. Are you hanging out with us all morning?
Sure, I ain't got nowhere else to be.
All right, good. I'm glad. James, the guitar player of Cutlass, is hanging out with us. If you guys want to chime in, 505-585-LIVE. You can text in. Also, phone lines are open, 505-338-3700. And we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Phoebes, Brittany, what up? Thanks for joining us. You can chime in. We love it when you guys are a part of the show with us. We got a huge Monday show. We're live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back. Hang out.
I'm Daniel, and it's time to get in the techno. You've seen the headlines in the news. Gray key lightning box can break passcode, or police use dead man's finger to unlock iPhone, and the like. Well, Apple appears to be once again taking on law enforcement in the name of privacy. Uncovered in a beta release of iOS 11.4, a new feature disables the Lightning port after a 7-day period with the phone not being accessed. This would prevent devices like the Grayshift Gray Key from breaking an iPhone's passcode once those 7 days have passed. There is both support and disdain towards Apple's stance on user privacy. Some argue we should allow law enforcement backdoor access to our personal data in the name of security. Some say that the price is too high. We're blessed to live in a country where we have religious liberty and freedom. But not all of our brothers and sisters in Christ are as privileged and face persecution from their governments. If one day the tide turns in the U.S., you may end up being grateful for that privacy. I'm Daniel, and now you're in the Techno on Star 88.
A Star 88 Supernova with Greg Laurie.
Do you have financial needs right now? Here's what God says. Jesus speaking, Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And all these things was a reference to an earlier statement he made when he said, don't be like non-believers who obsess about what they're going to wear and what they're going to drink and what they're going to eat. Jesus is saying, put God first, seek him first, and all these things will be added to you. Malachi 3:10, God says, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, and there'll be enough food in my temple. And if you do, I'll open the windows of heaven for you and pour out a blessing so great you won't have room enough to take it in. Try it. Put it to the test. Have you ever put God to the test in tithing? Say, well, I don't believe in tithing. Well, God does, and everyone should tithe. That's where we start.
Catch Greg Laurie's teaching show, A New Beginning, on our sister station, KNKT, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. on 107.1 FM.
This is Ground Wire with Sean Dunn.
If you've spent any time around children, you know that they can get overwhelmed very easily. Perhaps they've been asked to clean the house and they think it will take forever. Maybe their schoolwork is challenging. If that is the case, they may look at the endless pile there before them and think that they will never finish it. Although time takes care of many things, many teenagers and adults have yet to overcome the sense of being overwhelmed. They wonder when life will get better, when relationships will get easier, when their money will go farther and the criticism will stop. Many struggle every day with things that seem bigger than they are, or with circumstances that seem like they will never improve. They feel hopeless and alone. But it is for that reason that Christ invited us to cast all of our cares on Him. He willingly will carry our burdens because He cares for us. The God of the Bible wants you to know His mercy and grace that will cover the mistakes of the past and offer a new perspective on the future. God wants to help you deal with the things that overwhelm you. All you have to do is ask.
Groundwire. Groundwire. To find out more, click on groundwire.net.
This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Star 88, New Mexico's fresh alternative. Morning Invasion.
Part of a complete breakfast. You're stupid.
With Dex and Steve-O.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the show. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Dex and Steve-O. Also James from Cutlass hanging out. You guys can be a part of the show, 505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in, say what's up, anything on your mind, anything you want to talk about, need help, whatever it is. Phone lines are always open. You can also text in. What's the live line number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483 if you want to be a part of the show that way.
And we're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. While you're hanging out at work, whatever you're doing, turn us on. Maybe you got Apple TV. Turn us on. Hang out with us. Watch us. Chime in. Star 88. Search it on YouTube and Facebook Live. Go like our page on Facebook if you haven't yet. Oh, man. We just had a great hour with James, the guitarist from Cutlass. And how long have you been married, James?
15 years, man.
15. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's
Lindsay
awesome.
and I have been together since we were 17 years old.
That's crazy.
I met her the night I became a Christian, actually.
Really?
Yeah, God was like, here's salvation. There's your wife. I want you to be a pastor eventually, so pay attention.
Yes,
and it was
dude.
pretty great. Yeah. So we got married at age 20, and we have a 12-year-old son named Jacob.
Nice.
He's the man. He looks like Harry Potter.
I was just about to say, you may know him from his earlier
From
works
his early
as
works.
Harry Potter.
Yep.
Like, not kidding.
He's a dead ringer.
He is a dead. He is
Really?
Daniel Radcliffe. Yes.
It's funny because when we're out in public, like little kids will like tug on mommy's hem and like point and be like, "That's Harry Potter."
For real.
It's so funny.
He's got the round glasses and everything. Like,
You guys do that on
full
purpose, huh? You guys
He-
get
yeah, I mean,
glasses?
he needed glasses, and that's what he chose.
Yeah.
He's aware that he looks like Harry Potter. He actually takes it in stride really well.
Does he like Harry Potter? Is he a fan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Not allowed to say that on Christian radio.
Yeah, I
you can
know.
talk. You can talk about the Ukraine and say your
Edit.
band name in
Don't.
Dutch, but you
said-
cannot say.
You said the again. You said the Ukraine
I know. That's
again.
what I'm saying. I'm saying offensive things, but you can't say Harry
got it.
Potter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
HP is not allowed.
Right.
So when you started dating your wife, did you ever test her in certain
I can't wait
areas?
to talk about this.
You know, did you put her through a test to see how she would react or how she would, perform? I don't know.
No.
No?
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
Like, I don't even know how
I
to
can't wait to
respond.
see where this is going. I can't even imagine the parameters
Yeah.
with which you're trying to.
Yeah, I mean, you're dating somebody. You
Yeah,
wanna
okay.
you wanna find out, the potential that the other person has. So why not a little test? Like
Okay.
a little test. Like this 25-year-old guy in South Africa. He goes by VJ is his name, and he recently got himself a new girlfriend.
I
Last
bet he
week,
did.
she was coming over to his house, and VJ, I guess, wanted to test her, so he intentionally messed up his place to see if she'd clean up after him.
Oh gosh.
But afterwards, he tweeted, quote, "I was extremely disappointed, to be honest. She left without even washing dishes, let alone some cleaning. I thought this one was actually wife material, but she entirely
What?
failed this girl-friending test."
What a turd.
Yeah.
People, I guess, proceeded to destroy him on
yeah,
Twitter.
good.
So on Wednesday, VJ posted again, quote, "Some idiot showed my girlfriend this tweet, and she dumped me immediately. Guess what? I'm officially single. That seems like the right outcome." Apparently, or I guess most people wanted this guy, they wanted that
Wow.
relationship to be over. So that's Beetlejuice from, yeah.
This
I'm not gonna
poor
say
guy.
it. Yeah, he ended up tweeting back. But when Beetlejuice tweets something like that back, you messed up.
Yeah.
All right. Testing
Why would? Yeah.
is that? I mean, I kind of
Scripture
get
says
it.
to test all
Yes.
things, bro.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Okay.
I can't do this with James in here because he really cares about context.
Man, I mean, scripture aside, that's rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so rude.
Yeah.
Why do that? That's so disrespectful to do
Yeah.
to that poor girl.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I mean, let's really take a look at it though,
Okay.
because
Go ahead.
marriage is a big thing, okay?
Yeah.
And when you're dating, you're trying to find the right one for you.
But he's treating that like he expects that will be her role all the time.
Right.
And a marriage, like, you got to wash the dishes. I got to wash the dishes. You got to, it's your turn to be sad today. It's my turn to be sad today. You got to flip those roles and be each other's cheerleaders. You got to be each other's counterparts. And man, that is I sound super Portland right now, but that was so patriarchal.
yeah.
what he did.
No, his situation,
in
yeah.
really, really disrespectful
What
way.
if it was testing them just to see what their reaction would be? Not necessarily I want to make sure that I have a wife that cleans and
she can clean well.
Yeah. What if it's I'm purposely going to set out this situation, this trap, and see how she responds because I want to know if this girl is the right one for me or guy.
Seems so manipulative.
I'm not down with that.
It's
like,
weird,
at all.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
how would you test your girlfriend to
And
make sure she's marriage
Here's
material? Like,
here's
I
the
don't
darker
know.
side of that, though. What's at the root of that for that person? It's fear and distrust.
Yeah.
And he's projecting that onto her. Like, why not deal with that internally? Where is that fear and distrust coming from him?
Right.
You know, and maybe, I mean,
James
it's
is just too
unlikely that this guy is a believer. You know, maybe not.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe not.
Maybe he is. I don't know. Who's to say? But I just, that is just.
Women do it all the time, though.
What?
Yeah, they do.
To test us?
They
That
test
is
us
another-
all the time.
That is another
How do I look in this
superlative.
dress? How do I look in this dress, honey? Oh, you look beautiful. You have to say that, to be honest. And you're like, you know what? I hate it. You look terrible. And then they won't. Okay, well, you're either dumped or they're not gonna talk to you for a week.
That is also an incredible overgeneralization, though. You
love
cannot
it.
expect all people to always act in one way.
Right. But we do. How often do we do that? Honestly,
do,
in a
for sure.
marriage, like, oh man, if something doesn't
It
go your
happens,
way,
yeah. I'm
or,
not saying it doesn't
oh,
happen.
Man. No, but I mean that wanting that unrealistic expectation that your partner or that somebody in any given situation is always going to respond this way or always going to this, and then when that doesn't happen, you're disappointed, and that's how like communication breaks down, how relationships break down. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is unmet or unrealistic expectations. Seriously.
For sure.
So
Yeah, and then not communicating about that up front or even afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, a fear of confrontation about that afterwards.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Man, relationships are hard.
Well, it's like
know
we
why
said
anybody-
earlier. People are great, but people are also totally the worst.
right?
Yeah, dude.
So
It's
true.
so hard.
So hard.
And
man.
yet God loves them so much and he wants us to be his voice to
Dude.
them. That's
Right?
crazy.
Rebecca just chimed in and she said, okay, seriously, just be observant of different situations. How do they react when someone angers them? How do they treat their mother, etc.?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like no need to test the girlfriend.
Rebecca, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with her.
Yeah. Somebody says, but they're not married. I get it a little more if they're married and he has some issues that she's picking up the slack for, but he's fine. They're not married. There's no requirement for her to do anything.
Yeah.
But
What position is that person taking?
I don't know that
I don't get it.
that because they're not married, he shouldn't have tested her because that's not her job because they're just
But
boyfriend
if they
and
were
girlfriend.
married, they should.
I
don't agree with that at all. No. Sorry, disagree with you.
They also said, wow, this guy's an idiot. He's definitely going to stay single if he keeps pulling
Yeah.
junk like that. So there you go. Yeah, that's the stance.
Yeah.
That's the stance.
There we are.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
cool.
talking about
Yeah.
this 25-year-old guy in South Africa, and he recently got into a relationship, got a girlfriend, and she was coming over to the house. He wanted to test her, so he messed up his place to see if she'd clean up after him. Well, she didn't, and so he posted a picture of his place that's all trashed and said, I was extremely disappointed. She left without even washing the dishes, let alone some cleaning. I thought this was actually wife material, but
Gosh,
she entirely
that is
failed this
so-
girlfriend test.
that
And
is so
people
rough.
ripped him apart because,
All right, let's talk about whether there is some sort of innocuous or sort of innocent version of doing that. For instance, this popped into my head. What if, like, you were texting your girlfriend in that situation or had called and said, yeah, come over at such and such time. And then, like, you purposefully aren't there, but, like, you're maybe outside or something.
Right.
You know, sort of like a joke surprise or something, but you're trying to gauge how well she does in that moment,
Like
like to
stressed
communicate
out,
with you.
like-
Like, you said you were going to be here. Why aren't you here? Like, and how that communication
That's
goes
still a
down.
weird
Is there
test.
something we can come up with that is
That's
sort of
like-
like an innocent, maybe permissible sort of
Test?
a lighthearted
A
something or other?
lighthearted test?
it almost feels like, I mean, you just go
Like-
through life. I mean, why do you got to test people?
Exactly.
You
Right.
just live life and
Like
Right.
Rebecca said, if you're
Right.
observant enough, if you're paying attention,
Yeah.
you can see those qualities or lack thereof in a human being.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
quickly, I think. I don't know.
That's really what I align with more.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Just just watch people, observe them.
Yeah.
You know?
Ask the wise.
Also, you get in, you get out of a relationship what you put into it. So if you're trying to manipulate the person up front, like that's obviously going to end in brokenness and negativity.
Yeah.
So that's just not very wise, young man.
What you said was very wise, because I don't think enough people realize that, like what you pour into a relationship, like because a lot of us want something and back to those expectations, but then aren't willing to give that of ourselves in order to get that. So
505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Can you hold on just one sec? I'm sorry.
Of course. We're not doing anything right now.
Sorry about that. Sorry,
You're testing us, weren't you?
Thanks.
What's up, man? Oh, wait. He's not back with us yet.
Okay.
You want to?
So that coincides with my question, because I had to drive onto a military post, and I can't be talking on the phone when I drive on.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know if this is testing, but how do you know if you're talking to a girl who's never had any type of military exposure, if she can be that girl that can be away from you for 10 or 12 months at a time?
Ooh.
Is
That's
that
a very good
testing?
question.
How do you bring that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
If y'all find out that question, we don't know, because dudes still get left and right. Women still get left and right when they're gone for 12 months.
Right.
Beyond that, how can you trust and say, can you date somebody, can you marry somebody who might die prematurely because of their job? The military, they're a cop.
Yeah.
How can you test or prepare for that?
Right. Man.
First of all, I'm assuming that you are involved in the military.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for serving our country. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. It worked out for me. I found a girl who was really, really hesitant, and we watched a couple of really sad movies, and she was like, I don't want to do this. And we talked, and we dated, and we married, and we have a child. And she's like, I didn't think that I could ever be here.
Wow.
I'm not okay with you dying.
Right.
But I can figure out how to be a whole person and be sound.
Praise
Nice,
God.
dude.
You know what would probably help people with your question is if you guys were able to meet with people and kind of counsel people through that.
Yeah.
I think the best opportunity. So, you know, I've been in a band for a really long time. This is James talking to you right now. I've been in a band for 17 years. We don't leave for as long as y'all have to leave when you're deployed, but we do leave for long periods of time and fairly often. And, you know, as a result, we've always had a heart for military families, and we try our best to give back, you know. But what you brought up is such a great question. I think that oftentimes the leaving of either spouse is not really due so much to one single factor. Like you said, you know, the factor might be they can't handle the being away for so long part. I really don't think it's one single factor. It's a lot of things all at once that are all in disrepair through miscommunication and misunderstanding. For Christian couples in that arena of life, I would really suggest there's this great marriage series called Love and Respect by Dr. Egerlich. It's kind of a biblical foundation on what it means to, as a male spouse or a female spouse, to inhabit both of those sides of that biblical expectation in Ephesians chapter 4. So Love and Respect, awesome series. But as far as like prior to the relationship and getting married and everything, there is no way to understand whether you can go through that or not unless you just jump in.
Yeah.
And at that point, as we all know, it's like kind of you've passed the point of no return.
Right.
So what you got to do is find a couple like you and your wife. You got to find a couple who can talk to you about it, have the conversations. I wouldn't suggest any sort of like test to see if they can handle it, because really what sort of test could you facilitate that would actually
you know,
disappear for 10 months and see if she's still there when you get back.
So how is that? But I mean, there's really nothing that would provide you the answer or the result you're looking for. And anything in life, whether you're deployed for a year or a couple years, or whether you're just in what would be more of a typical marriage relationship setting, it requires faith and trust in each other.
Yeah.
So those values have to be the foundational point, no matter what the circumstance you're about to step into.
Gosh. Dude, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I totally made sure she could clean before I ever left.
Beautiful.
I left my house dirty.
Beautiful. Thanks, man. We'll see you.
In this great moment.
It's so good.
Dude, the live line just blew up. So
Yeah, 505-585-LIVE. You want to text in, or you can call us, 505-338-3700. What do you think about testing your partner?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, so here's the thing. Dating is just a big test anyway.
Right.
I mean, what is like going to get coffee with someone and being like, so what do you do?
Right, right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah. Dude,
What
are
do you
your
like?
top 10
It's a
favorite
big
bands
test
and
anyway.
why? That's a good
totally.
test question.
But these are conversational pieces in
Right.
in normal daily routines for people. It's not a forced situation where you're trying to produce
Right.
an outcome and you think this one outcome is the only acceptable outcome for
Right.
that partner.
Gosh.
That's unfair expectations from that young man to his girlfriend that came over.
Right? Yeah.
I
dude.
totally agree. Totally agree.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much
And
for
if you
calling.
can't be like, so what if I get cancer someday? I should probably test them on that.
I
What
know,
if we
like,
have
how
this,
do you-
know,
yeah, how do you do that?
fertility problems?
Right.
There's just so much in marriage that you
Right.
can't prepare for.
No,
Yeah.
totally.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's so. Here's the thing. So many people are chiming in. If you're just joining us, by the way, Dexter found this crazy story. To tell people what happened.
Yeah, this guy lives in South Africa. He just started dating this girl, and he thought, I'm gonna test her, see how she responds, how she reacts to me not cleaning my house. And so he invited her over. He just trashed the place, and he wanted his girlfriend to clean the place up. That's what the test was all about. Well, she left without cleaning. He tweeted this disappointment that she didn't clean up after him. She didn't wash the dishes. Then people online just filleted this guy.
Our live line's kind of doing the same thing. Somebody said they're not married. He's not sick. He's a controlling jerk. Somebody said, I tested my wife. I have a classic car that doesn't have power door locks. I unlocked her door and opened it for her. And once she was in, I closed it. I know this test. Once she was in, I closed it and saw if she would reach across and unlock my door by the time I got to it. This determines if there would be a second date. She did reach over and unlock the door. This July we'll be married 19 years.
Wow.
Shout out to her piano teacher who told her to always reach over and unlock the door in this situation. My wife completely failed this test.
Yeah?
And still does 15 years later. Yes. Regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can test, but doesn't mean it's going to work.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, doesn't mean that it's still not meant to be because, yeah, Chrissy is terrible at that. Somebody said, I think going to an escape room as a date would actually be a good
Ooh,
idea.
yeah.
Because
Sure.
it would be a way for people to see how others handle stressful situations
good.
in a fun environment.
But
Yeah.
stressful situations in real life aren't like they spring up on you.
Right.
You don't like think in advance, oh, we're going to escape room and that's
Right.
going
Yeah.
to be sort of silly but also stressful. That's not life.
Right.
Life comes
Yeah.
at you and you got to react.
Yeah, dude.
I
That's
always,
what you're looking
I always
for.
thought that camping would be the best thing if you're in a new relationship
Yeah,
and you
dude.
really want to see if it's going to work. Take your partner
Chrissy
camping.
also failed that test. Yeah,
Yeah?
she hates camping. Yeah,
gosh.
Yeah, I know. I'm really terrible with warning signs and and yield signs. So somebody says love is love. There's no such thing as husband or wife material because you can have a perfect spouse and still not love them, or have an imperfect spouse and love them to death. So. Somebody said, whatever happened to direct behavior? These are questions you ask and discuss at length. The lady
There you
should have
go.
looked at the dude's apartment, saw he was a slob. I wouldn't marry someone coming in with poor housekeeping skills. We're a team. I'm no maid.
Right.
Thank you,
Amen.
Brandy in California.
Nice. Yeah, Brandy.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that girlfriend should have been like, excuse me, why
Right.
is your place so messy?
Yeah.
Bro, get
Yeah.
your life in order.
If you're wondering who's hanging out with us, James from Cutlass is hanging out with us.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, thank you for holding.
Yeah, thanks.
505-338-3700 if you'd like to call in. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Hey, I just wanted to call in and clarify because I'm the dude that said earlier if because they're not married, it's not an issue, and it kind of got taken as well. Once they're married, she owes him that.
Mm-hmm.
And that
you're
wasn't
a
what
pig.
I was saying.
I'm just kidding.
No, come on now. Give him a chance.
I'm just kidding.
Drop that hammer.
No.
Drop that hammer. All right. If that's what I was saying, you should definitely say that.
Right. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. The whole idea is like once you're married, there's a mutual submission and love and respect for each other. Where if there is an issue, if there is cancer, if there is he's got major depressive disorder, something like that. Yeah, there is some level of not that he should expect it, but that God expects us to pick up the slack for each other, to take care of each other, to do things for each other, even if we're not necessarily expected to do it, that it's not a requirement for us because we love the other person and we want to care for them.
Amen.
That's what I was trying to say.
Cool.
Anybody that's just, you're my wife, so you're expected to do the dishes and do the cooking and do the cleaning and all of that kind of stuff. Yep, definitely a pig.
They're in error. I remove my prior disagreement.
Thanks for calling, man. Somebody said, I think a good test is to leave the last service at Calvary on Sunday to see how they handle the traffic.
Yeah.
If they can keep their cool, their marriage material. Dude, this weekend, Mother's Day, it was like going to Disneyland. James and I.
Mama's was here.
Yes,
yeah,
dude.
well, moms can guilt their kids into going to church.
It's like the weekend where mothers tell all their kids, you're going to church with me. It's Mother's Day.
Right.
And man, we were parked in the goofy section, road D, 34B, whatever. It took us 37 minutes to get here. There was like water out there. We bought some bottled waters on the way in, walking to service. It was insane. It was awesome. It was so awesome. But it was definitely cray-cray. Mother's Day, man.
Yeah.
That's the guilty day. That's where you guilt your kids into going to church with you.
We're talking about testing your partner. Have you ever done that? Is it okay to put them through a test to find out if they are wife material or husband material? 505-338-3700. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. This is Retz.
Hey, Retz.
Hey, Retz.
Hey. So on this note, I'm fully 100% behind the concept of actually getting to know one another through conversation.
Yeah.
My wife and I had what we generally call our 72-hour courtship. We had pretty much a whirlwind romance, but for 72 hours straight, we talked about anything and everything. We were literally talking from the time that we woke up to the time that we fell asleep. We talk late into the night, watch the sun come up, pass out for a few hours, wake up, have breakfast, talk again. And in that time, we opened up our biggest fears, our biggest dreams. I had the opportunity to tell her, look, I still deal with something. I've got a criminal record, and that follows me around. So this is what you're getting into in that regard. And I've got a saint for a wife.
Cool.
She decided to stick with me, and she was dealing with lupus at the time, and I saw her at her absolute worst in the hospital, hooked up to a bunch of machinery, severely overweight due to water retention and everything that goes along with having to be hospitalized and being sick with lupus. And I couldn't think, even in that moment, I couldn't think of my life without her.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that kind of in-depth conversation and honesty.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, Retz.
Dude.
Thanks for chiming in, buddy.
Not a problem.
All right, let's switch some gears here.
Yeah, man.
Because graduation is happening all around.
How many parties have you had to go to? Sorry, anyways, go ahead.
No.
Sorry, Toad just cut you off.
I don't have friends, so I don't go to any parties.
Okay.
Should you be allowed to cheer for your kid at graduation?
I'm so glad we're going to talk about this story.
Okay. We're going to throw that out there.
Oh!
Yeah, because apparently
cheer for your babies!
At one high school, you're not allowed to cheer, and some things went down. They were pretty crazy. So we'll talk about that, and we want you, of course, to chime in. We're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live.
at star 88, and you guys can text in. What's that live line number?
505-585-LIVE is the live line number. That's 505-585-5483. Text in. We want to know, should you be allowed to cheer for your kiddos, or anyone really, at a graduation ceremony?
James, the guitarist from Cutlass, hanging out with us in the studio.
He's my strong tower, man.
He is.
Oh, man. We're live from the Dream Tower Modeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back.
We all want the best future for our children. Our next generation of leaders need a strong foundation. With small classes, a great sports program, and affordable tuition, Evangel Christian Academy strives to equip students for the work God has for them. ECA's mission is to shape and empower the Christ-loving leaders of tomorrow. By using a leadership-driven and individualized learning model, our staff can better prepare your student to stand strong in their faith and be ready for the real world. ECA also utilizes dual credit through C&M by offering 4 courses on our academy campus taught by our staff. Since 1976, Evangel Christian Academy has been serving children from preschool through 12th grade and is fully accredited. We are located at 4501 Montgomery Boulevard Northeast in Albuquerque and are currently enrolling for the 2018-19 school year. Please contact Evangel Christian Academy for a tour today at 505-883-4674 or go online to ecanm.info. That's ecanm.info.
Charles Stanley said this: Satan is the prince of this world system. In every area of life, he offers a counterfeit to God's best. A Star 88 solar flare.
Something wasn't working, running out of faith. I was so uncertain, I couldn't find my place. Then I let go, let love surround me. And I found myself right where you found me. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded that you call me yours. That's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, that's the life. About surrender, that's when the power comes, making you the center, the breath inside my lungs. And why would I run back to where I was? Yeah, 'cause I got everything in your love. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded that you call me yours. That's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, that's the life. Yeah, that's the life. Ooh, I know my future holds everyday miracles. Father, you promised me all of eternity. I know my future holds everyday miracles, so bring it on. Father, you promised me all of eternity. Oh, I'm coming home. That's the life in your life. How could I want anything more? It blows my mind every time I'm reminded
On Star 88, Robert Morris brings us this PowerPoint.
If you weigh 125 pounds, you have 45 teaspoons of salt in your body. Just think about 45 teaspoons already in your body. If you weigh about 200 pounds, like some of us, then you have about 75 teaspoons of salt. So when Jesus said, you are salt, obviously that's what he was talking about, right? Of course not. He was talking about salt as an influence. It's an influence. You might not know this, but salt is mentioned more in the Bible than you might think. Even in the Old Testament, this is going to shock you, but when you gave sacrifices, and you know sacrifices were in the Old Testament, all through the Old Testament, you actually had to season every sacrifice with salt.
A PowerPoint with Robert Morris. This is Star 88.
What's going on in the news today?
The Paris knife attacker's name is Kamzat Azimov and was on the nationwide database of radicalized people. Police say he was born in the majority Muslim Russian Republic of Chechnya. His parents are being questioned.
Avengers Infinity War maintaining its staying power on top of the movie box office, another $61.8 million in week number 3.
Canada is going to be competing with all of those other places that it provides the weather information to by developing its own mobile weather app.
Atlantic hurricanes often get the attention due to their proximity to the U.S., but occasionally Pacific storms wreak havoc too. Some can threaten Hawaii, others may lose their cohesion, but the remaining rains can drench and flood the American Southwest. A girl is hospitalized with serious injuries after being attacked by a bear outside her home near Grand Junction, Colorado. The girl's mother telling wildlife officers that her daughter went outside around 2:30 a.m. to investigate noises she thought might be related to her dog. The mother then heard screaming and found her daughter being dragged by a large black bear. The bear dropped the girl after the mom began screaming at the animal.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
What the heck? We were just watching this viral video this morning of this stupid stupid
You
parents.
should say stupid. Okay, I thought you
Stupid
were just
parents
trying not to
because
be mean.
there were kids involved.
I'm like,
but,
be mean.
They took their kids outside of the vehicle so they could get close to the cheetahs. And
I don't
almost
understand.
got mauled to death.
I don't understand at all. Stupid.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show, everybody. Live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Dex and Steve-O. James, the guitarist from Cutlass, hanging out with us this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Mead.
This is Cutlass, if you guys aren't familiar. That's all you get. Sorry, we can't play anymore.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Gosh,
It's a
dude.
great song, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, friends.
Man, almost 500,000 views on this one, bro. You getting that YouTube money?
that meant no, actually.
You guys are so rich with that YouTube money, right?
Except the problem is that's not even their page.
Oh,
that's
see?
from some
You
jerk.
could go after them, man.
That's from some jerk.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever.
Okay.
It's fine.
See, that's why you'll never be wealthy.
That's fine. I'm wealthy. I got friends.
Oh,
I got Jesus.
That's
boom.
Lame. That's lame.
No,
Oh wait,
you know
that's
what?
not lame. Darn it.
Yeah. Oops. No, the thing is, we've always had. You know, we've been a very successful band. We've actually sold like over 3 million records.
Wow.
You know, we've been everywhere, all over the world. You know, we've never made a ton of money off of this, surprisingly. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Truly, it really is. It's okay.
I
We've
wouldn't have
always
met
had,
you if you weren't in Cutlass.
We've always had exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Friendship.
Yeah.
And people to ask, what's your top 10 favorite albums of all time and why?
And
why?
Why am
The
I saying
why was
what?
a big...
What way?
Yes.
Right.
It was a big stickler for me. Why?
Why?
Wow. Well.
There's a lot of breath happening
Yeah.
on the
Hootie
radio
and
right
the
now.
Blowfish. Number 10. I'm just kidding.
Boo.
I know. Dude, no.
Yeah, James from Cutlass hanging out with us. You guys are hanging out with us as well on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
You can get over there, Star 88. You can watch the show. We upload all the shows every day right there on YouTube and Facebook, so you can go back and get caught up and hear the whole thing. And you can stream us. We're available through the app, Star 88 app. You can download. And we're also on demand. You can get us through the app.
I'm going to
or
have to start
iTunes.
booking friends and guests every day now. People are going to like start getting used to it. Friday we had Patrick Fabian from Better Call Saul in the studio.
Yeah, but let's face it, it's kind of hit or miss when it comes to guests. You know, I mean,
That's true.
James
You got
and
a
Patrick
total-
were amazing.
You
but
got a total dud here today.
yeah, whatever.
So
Whatever.
What, dude, you are seriously Beanix 2.0, or I guess you'd be Beanix 0.0 because like you're gonna be Beanix in 20 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something better to say, but yeah, I love that.
How many books are you reading right now?
Currently, this moment, I'm not reading a book. I'm looking at you.
You need to step up. Well, okay, you're right. Technically. Wow, you are like Brian.
He is like Brian, dude. I'm telling you. Him and Beanix are like up the same branch, bro.
I am reading a few books because I'm also in school. So I'm almost done with my degree through Grand Canyon University.
Yep.
Super stoked, man.
He was doing homework this weekend, and I was just watching along.
Yeah.
As he was,
Had to write an essay yesterday on John's theology in the Johannine literature. It was awesome.
You know,
that's fun.
But so right now I'm reading for outside of school, because I mentioned that to say, like, obviously I got a bunch of books I have to read for that.
Right.
But outside of that, right now I'm reading The Sacred Enneagram by Chris Hewerts.
Have you ever done this?
I love enneagrams.
I love enneagrams.
It's my favorite thing to study. And
You know, I'm serious. Have you never done this?
No.
Maybe during the break, we
man.
should try and get through these.
Is this where you're talking about being a helper?
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah. The predominant type that I identify with is the type 2. And
Not diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes.
Diabetes. You nailed that.
I'm Wilford Brimley.
That was good.
We should start like a Facebook page of cats that look like Wilford Brimley, because there's surely
I think
a
I've
lot.
seen that.
So
That's
many.
pretty good.
But yeah, I got super into the Enneagram because I also work for this coffee company back home, Black Rock Coffee Bar. And my friends started this company in 2008. And our boss, so like these two brothers and their brother-in-law, they're the three guys that are like the owners of this coffee company. And one of my bosses, he got really into the Enneagram, and then he basically asked all of us on the corporate team to all take this test, because he, as a type 5, which is the investigator, he really wanted to understand everybody, and everything to him is like systems, you know? So he wanted to like systematically understand all of us. And it's crazy because he has every single person's profile memorized.
That's crazy.
And he knows, like,
man.
if you have a talk with him, he can go really deep about you. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's awesome though. But that's what
You don't know me, man. But
that's
you
what
do.
got me really into it. And then I started listening to this really fascinating podcast called Typology. Ian Morgan Cron is the host, and he wrote a book called The Road Back to You, which is kind of like a top seller in the Enneagram kind of world. But yeah. So
But is this like a modern day caste system? Are we just putting people into
boy.
boxes?
Yeah, you're labeling me, bro.
Don't label me.
You should see my office door. I have a label on there.
I do too.
hate
I
it.
do too. We have labels.
I'm a nurturer.
And I'm a connector.
Yeah, so people know that I'm a nurturer.
Well,
Yeah.
what is this based off of?
The 5 voices.
Voices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, the
I'm a
Enneagram,
voice.
the premise of that is not far off
Yeah, it
from a
sounds very
system
similar,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But the Enneagram is actually like an ancient Judaistic practice that helps you understand like what you're projecting to the world to get what you hope to get out of relationships back, and how that's standing in your way as far as approaching
Pretty much the
God
same thing. Yeah.
more closely.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much
It's cool.
what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a nurturer.
I'm a nurturer.
You're
yeah.
probably close to a type 2 then on the Enneagram.
Yeah.
stuff.
When you said you're a helper, I could definitely see myself in that.
Yeah.
You know.
Helping.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice, Steve-O. Good.
Yeah.
helping.
See how I helped you come up with that? Great.
Oh man. Because we all did it as a church.
As a staff.
Yeah, we did it as
Sure.
kind of a quick study one day, and I wanted to be a leader,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be
So
something
you can
I'm
help
not.
people.
Well, I don't
I'm
know.
just
I just felt like that I am a leader, but then no, you're really quiet and shy, and you
that's who
really
you
love
are.
people, and so you nurture people. And
It
I'm
was
like,
like
but I don't want to
Dex
be a
and
nurturer.
all of the pastors' wives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yo.
like me and all the wives hanging out. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
You guys go over
darn
there.
it! Can I do the test
A
again?
little nurture. It was like him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and Steve-O's like with
wives.
Skip
Yeah.
and Steven, and I'm like, but they're cool. I want to be like them.
I'm usually in like that small margin percentage. Like even the Myers-Briggs thing, I was an INFJ, which is like less than 2% of the male population of the world is that profile. Yeah. Yeah, I'm usually in that like smaller, like nurturing margin. Yeah.
God, it makes sense because you're just so soothing, and I just want to talk to you. I just want to hear your voice. It's so good. Okay, speaking of hearing voices, we have to talk about this.
Yeah, we threw it out there.
Segue.
You guys feel free to chime in. Let us know. Should you be allowed to cheer for your kid at graduation? That's the question. Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You can go there and comment at Star88. Also, phone lines open, 505-338-3700. And the live line's open at 505-585-LIVE. And we're joined by James, the guitarist from Cutlass, hanging out with us.
Hi.
So let me just give you a backstory here.
Yeah.
Because administrators at Greenville High School, they recently threatened to fine people more than $1,000 if they cheer when their kid's name is announced at graduation.
This is crazy.
The exact amount is $1,030. It's not clear how they arrived at that number. They said it should be a, quote, dignified and solemn occasion. So parents shouldn't cheer, whistle, or applaud. And they suggested the cops would issue the fine for disturbing the peace. They already had to walk it back, though, after a police spokesman rejected the idea and said cheering at graduation is, quote, not a police matter. So they're fining people over $1,000 if you're cheering too loud.
These are the same people that want to give everyone a trophy.
Right.
For mediocrity.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat. Good plan.
Okay, so here's the deal. If my kid was graduating high school and his school said, you can't do this,
would you obey the law of the land?
see, that's the bit, right? Like, that's the question. Like, everybody knows me as like, hey, that's the dude that's on Christian radio, that Christian guy over there. And then I'd be the one at graduation, like, repping Christ by screaming at the top of my lungs.
And breaking the rules. Yeah.
So you remember last year we kind of had it was a similar conversation at a graduation where a kid couldn't afford the cap and gown.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
And so he got it was a different colored one, right? No, it was a girl one.
It was the girl one.
It was the girl cap and gown.
Yeah.
It was all
because
they had
that's
left.
all they had left.
And the
to, like,
family didn't have enough money to buy one when they were supposed to, like a few weeks out or a month out before graduation.
Yeah.
So
that's called poor shaming.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pretty much. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I was in poor
And
taste.
so they said he couldn't walk if he wore a
Poor
girl
thing.
cap and gown.
Sorry, go.
No, he just couldn't walk. And so that was kind
They're
of
just pouring
the
out of us at
conversation
this
was,
point.
well, why can't this, who cares if he's wearing a
Right.
pink cap and gown?
It wasn't pink. It was like white and blue, and the
Yeah,
dude's
that's right.
wearing blue, and the
You're
girls
right. I
wearing
don't know.
white for purity
Yeah.
or something.
Pink and white
like,
are the same thing.
They're not the same.
So Dex is colorblind.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yes. And he's a type 2 diabetic. Right. We're learning a lot about him this
I
morning.
don't understand why it's all serious at graduation.
I
like
don't
that.
need-
I don't
well,
understand.
okay.
I get the seriousness of it, but at the same time, come on.
Well, at our staff morning things that we have whenever, usually it's like, hold your applause till the end. Remember? Because it's like, hey guys, we're celebrating the birthdays this month. And then they announce like 12 people who have a birthday this month. And it takes forever to get through them. So finally it was like, okay, at the end, we're going to clap for all of them and sing all of them happy birthday. And so maybe it's a thing where they're like, we got to streamline this because we have 530 graduates and we don't want it to take too much time. But what they could do is just keep reading names and let people cheer.
Well, they
like,
said
I don't know.
it's, quote, dignified and solemn occasion. It's the dignified and solemn occasion is why
That's their
they're
reasoning.
not allowing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the
their
cheer.
why?
Yeah, that's their why.
Because,
yeah. You can't cheer, and why?
And why?
Sure.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I feel like I would just stand up and cheer. Stand
Right.
up and shout.
Dude,
You know?
yeah.
I would do it. Sorry.
I think I would too.
Yeah, like that's Jacob
It's my
Levi.
son's
yeah,
graduation.
That's Jacob Levi Mead down
And-
there. I'm
okay.
cheering for that dude.
If you get fined,
That's my guy.
do you really got to pay that fine? I mean, it's like getting the red light traffic ticket. I mean, do you have to pay that? You know what I'm saying? Do you have to? Does it really go on your record? I don't know. I mean, maybe it does.
Dude. Somebody said easy solution based on poor wording choices. Everyone cheers for everyone except their own kid.
Nice.
Because you only get fined for cheering for your kid at graduation.
Perfect. Yeah. That is-
So, okay, but my kid's still getting cheered for. So you don't cheer for your own kid.
Yeah.
You literally cheer for everyone else.
Exploit the loophole. That's a perfect approach to it.
Somebody says you cheer. Cheer like your kid is in the Hunger Games. This is PC gone too far. It is a big day for your kid. At least it was for me. I'm surprised I even graduated. So when I saw my parents standing and applauding, it was the best feeling in the world. Somber event. It's a graduation, not a funeral. Thanks,
Yes.
Dougie Doug.
Awesome.
So people are wanting to take the $1,000 fine. I don't think anybody so far is like,
What?
I would respectfully.
What if? Because you're bound to hear someone yell out, "Free bird!" So what if instead of like cheering for your kid, you cheer, but you just shout something that doesn't sound like you're cheering for your kid.
Right?
You're just like all of a sudden had to holler.
Right?
Somebody said I'm not sure for smaller schools, but I know that the graduation that we had, it was a matter of time, and the fact that the venue that we used was to be used right after our graduation ceremony for another graduation ceremony. So they were asked not to cheer or make too much of a production of each student so that we could get through the names and then give everyone a giant round of applause at the end. So while some parents were a little extravagant with their applause, we were able to finish the graduation with a little time to spare in order to have them reset everything for the next graduation. I mean,
should you be allowed to cheer for your kid at graduation? That is the question, because this high school in Greenville is fining people more than $1,000 if they cheer when their kid's name is announced. And they even wanted cops to show up and hand out fines.
That's
but
so weird to me,
cops
man.
wouldn't do it.
Somebody said you start a formal written protest. Those nerds should appreciate that. Somebody said, I remember going to my sister's graduation in 2000 and parents were banging pots and pans together.
There you go.
I mean, your baby's graduating. It should be like that.
Somebody on Facebook was saying they wouldn't allow to throw your cap at the end, which is crazy to me. That's kind of what you do.
It's tradition.
At the end, everybody throws it.
I remember that rule, though. That's been around for a few years. I remember the whole not being able to throw
Someone
that in
probably
the air.
got hit in the eye,
Of course.
and that was the end of it.
That was
all.
the end. It was like, no more throwing
They have
CDs to the crowd.
They have pointy ends.
Yeah.
You know?
I got told I wasn't allowed to do that at shows anymore because we used to
Throw
launch
your
CDs.
cap in the air?
We weren't like we would launch CDs into the
sure.
crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in between sets or something, we're getting the crowd pumped and like those are like ninja stars. And
Dude, from our side of things, like anytime drummer throws out sticks, inevitably the person who's not watching gets smacked in the face with a pair of sticks.
Yep. Dude, see? Oh gosh. Let's see. Somebody said like the golf games, you just scream mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes! Have you seen these, dude?
No.
People at
Yeah, right after they take
At, like,
a swing.
PGA events?
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
They just scream the most random
Mashed potato!
Yeah, dude. It's the best. Now we have to go find that drop.
Well, that's essentially what I was saying. Like,
Yes,
instead of like,
seriously.
yeah, Jacob, I love you, boy. Mashed potatoes.
Mashed
Scream
potatoes
mashed
totally
potatoes.
works.
Or,
Oh man! But then people would probably think that's his nickname, and then he's stuck with mashed potatoes for the rest of his
Right.
life. So, somebody said at my senior graduation we had over 800 graduates. They turned the mic up and just kept reading names.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, player!
yeah. Found it.
Hey, Tiger, light the candle! Light the candle!
Those are great, man.
Those
They
are just sound clips of
Those
people.
are screaming
Yes.
after he hits off the tee.
Light
We
the
are
candle.
so weird.
Yes, we are.
So somebody said there was an issue at my graduation actually with people cheering for their child, but continuing to cheer so loud that they obscured the name of the student called next. So disrespectful. I don't know. Somebody said, heck yeah, we should be able to cheer. It was a struggle to get my oldest kid through high school.
Yeah.
We cheered because it was a huge accomplishment, and we weren't sure it would happen. So somebody said, what are they going to do? Suspend you for throwing your cap in the air? You're graduating. What do you want? Actually, there are schools I was reading about that if you throw your cap in the air during graduation, you will not get your diploma.
What?
They hand you a fake diploma on the stage, and then you get your diploma after. And anybody, and so they can
like,
actually
mail it to you.
Yeah,
or something.
and so they actually that's really lame, but that's what schools
that doesn't really
are
even
doing
seem
now.
like that big a deal. Hand me a fake one. Who cares? I'm still gonna get my real one. Big
No,
deal.
but they won't. They wouldn't hand it out to you, so you just wouldn't get your high school.
You just
diploma.
walk by.
So it's like, but someday when I'm a doctor, I'm really gonna want that hanging on my wall. Like, do
you even
guys
know where yours is?
Right, I was just thinking that. Like, does anybody care?
I was trying to think about that. I mean, my mom probably has it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't
So
know.
does it matter?
Yeah.
I'm throwing that cap, yo. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Don't-
because
don't do that.
I mean, on a resume or on a job offer or whatever, you're still gonna state that you graduated high school, of course, and then any additional schooling after that. But like, does the fact that they didn't deliver your diploma
Right.
to you mean you can't answer that truthfully anymore?
Dude.
I don't know. That's weird.
Somebody said just scream dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly.
I would, oh man, that would be my family. That would be my family. Chrissy's family, they say that all the time.
That's great.
Dilly dilly. Anyways.
I don't know.
Potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah.
I guess in this situation, you know, or any situation similar, when you go somewhere and they have a rule that you think is completely stupid and you don't want to follow, you still should follow the rule
See,
because
that's the
it's out of
thing.
respect,
Right.
right? It's,
Like, yeah, especially as Christians.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
hard
yeah, yeah.
because
Right.
it's like, this is a stupid rule, but
Yeah.
we're still like,
Yeah.
oh, we're told to adhere to the like authorities above us, and
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
Well,
we're
I was-
serving someone as we're serving the Lord.
I was going to add this as well. You know, we've traveled a lot as a band. And,
Right.
And sometimes there's a cultural difference.
Yeah.
And we as guests, just because we're American, that doesn't mean we have to make wherever we are American culture.
Yeah.
In fact, we should, as representatives of Christ first and foremost,
Yeah.
and being public figures, and then secondly, sure, yeah, our national pride can play into it too, but like we should be the best guests that they have.
Yeah.
You know, and we should strive to understand in context like what their culture is trying to emulate, you know.
That's good.
Gosh, man.
James from Cutlass hanging out with
James
us.
from Cutlass.
James from Cutlass.
Latino Santa.
The Latino Santa. You can
It's
check him
stuck.
out. His sweet beard, his sweet Santa beard. We're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live right now at Star 88. All right, thank you for chiming in. You guys can continue to do that on Facebook or YouTube. 505-585-LIVE if you'd like to text into the show. We're live from the Dreamstar Remodeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back.
Star 88 thanks Jake Canales at Doorway Home Loans for becoming a power partner. Jake Canales at Doorway Home Loans provides VA, FHA, USDA, and conventional home loans for purchase and refinance mortgages. Jake Canales, Doorway Home Loans, 505-261-5138. Doorway.com/Jake-Canales. Jake Can. Philippians 4:13. NMLS number 310617. Doorway Home Loans, a DBA of International City Mortgage Incorporated. NMLS number 222730.
Whoa, here's a flaming hotspot from Skip Heitzig.
Jesus saw people differently than a lot of times, I think, the way we see people. We see people like this as an...
Jesus seeks the lost. What a wonderful truth.
Jesus saw them as an opportunity, not an inconvenience. Weary, scattered, like sheep having no shepherd. He's going, I'll be your shepherd. You can follow me. Follow me.
Hotspot. Get a full range of Bible teachings from Skip at connectwithskip.com. Now, do you feel lost or insignificant?
Like, oh, there's a big crowd, and God has a big business that he's running, and you need to know something. You are his business. You are his business. He knows your name. That is his business, rescuing people, loving people.
Get this. You can take Skip's teachings on the go. Also, find the Skip Heitzig podcast on your mobile device. You know how.
When we see God doing his business, it's our business to rejoice over just one.
Hotspot.
Nehemiah accomplished a great task in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem.
And this week on A New Beginning, Pastor Greg Laurie brings us some summary thoughts on what we can learn from his efforts and integrity, plus some valuable insights on the value of being part of a church family. Tune in this week for A New Beginning with Pastor Greg Laurie.
Make an appointment with Greg Laurie weekdays at 8:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT 107.1 FM. On the air and in your face, but lovingly so. This is Star 88 at 88.3 FM, KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and online at star88.fm.
Are you receiving my signal? Zero distortion, sir.
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 studios. Good morning, Starmy. We're live right now on Facebook and YouTube, Star 88. Don't forget to download the Star 88 app. You can stream us right there through your smartphone. We're on demand. You guys can chime in 505-585-LIVE.
Phoenix is trying to steal our guest. He's like, what? I'm going to take him.
Why are you trying to steal our guest, man?
I want to take him.
Well, guys, that's because Steve-O's paying me lots of money to do it. Yeah, yesterday, he after church, he said, hey, If I drop you some Ben Franklins, would you take my friend around?
Ben Franklin.
I was worth several Ben Franklins.
I work in ministry, man. We know that's not true. Like, here's 5 Lincolns. Just kidding, Washingtons.
No, I'm gonna take him just a little bit, just show him a few places around Albuquerque. Places.
Oh, you're stealing him like from campus.
Well, he can't spend all day here, man.
All right,
I mean, what time do you get off, Steve-O?
10. Oh, wait, you mean from the work?
Yeah, from work.
Like 1.
See. See, do you want him sitting around till 1 o'clock?
I mean, I was having a really good conversation with him today. We were going to talk about Israel, and so you have to. Why don't you just sit your butt down?
Because check it out, it's May 14th today, so happy Independence Day.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
That's 70 years ago.
As it were.
That's right. See, this is why I'm saying you guys are the same person, because he goes, dude, May 14th, and I'm like.
Independence
and he
Day,
goes,
Israeli independence.
1942, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
48. Yeah, so Netanyahu's remembering that day right now. It's pretty cool.
You guys got to
celebration.
take us back, though, because not everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the significance of May 14th, 1948?
This is the day where Israel became independent.
Yeah.
In the broader, this is actually one of 2 significant days in modern history.
Yes.
Where Israel kind of, took flight.
Yeah. Like
separated itself. Yeah, there's a long and storied history of Israel's occupation, if
it's called
you will.
The Bible.
Well, sure. A little bit more modern. The Bible's no longer being written
right. No, but I mean, like, it's a pretty storied history in there of God's people.
But,
fair point.
And interestingly enough,
thank you.
Interestingly enough, a lot of it does entail the British Empire. There's a lot of espionage and intrigue with the British Empire. But beyond the British Empire, the Middle East, as we know, is volatile. And there was a lot of things going on during this time. Israel rose up, they fought, and they became an independent nation on this day.
And they were granted, I believe, by unanimous vote by the UN Council at the time. Like, yes, you should be. I think looking back on it, unfortunately, I don't want to disparage that moment for them, but it was sort of like a pity vote based on what they had just come through with the Nazi regime and all that. But yeah, this is a cool day for them. So May 14th, 1948, it's a day of celebration for them today, and I'm glad to honor that as well. Also, my father-in-law was born on that day.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what you guys may not know, and this is really pretty significant, that during the celebration party, Joy Division was the opening act. And that's why
incarnate Joy Division.
You see people like wearing Joy Division shirts today. That's the reason why.
Yes, that is why.
Yeah,
that is
no idea. That's pretty cool.
No, that's not at all
part
true
of
whatsoever.
None of that
it's part of my hipster Santa uniform. Actually,
yeah.
He doesn't wear red anymore. He dresses in black and he wears an emo shirt.
Yeah, but the truth is,
has wheatgrass shots in the morning with his protein.
I don't think any of the Joy Division guys were even born in 1948.
No,
they probably didn't come until the 50s.
Wow.
And one, Ian Curtis.
Yes.
He's may he rest in peace. He's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those were my heroes, those guys.
It's a great band.
Welcome, Phoenix
Steve-O,
and Phoenix.
Yeah,
Phoenix and other
Steve-O
Phoenix.
and I were talking yesterday, and he was like, dude, all you have to say to Phoenix is Joy Division, and you will have yourself like a 3-hour conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we don't even want to start on the Joy Division conversation.
No.
But should we? No.
It's on a Monday.
It's a Monday, yeah.
New Wave. We could just mention New Wave in general.
I love New Wave. Yeah. Love it.
Dude.
It'd be nice to have a new wave.
Yeah.
I am so sick of modern pop music right now.
So then does that mean we have to, the stuff from the 80s we just call wave?
Wave, old wave.
Well, don't get me to start unpacking the history of the 80s music.
But it's not new anymore.
Because
it's just
I would have to parse
wave.
it. I'd have to parse it. When you live it, as I did, sadly. But, you called it just one genre of music. But today, we would really break the 80s into 4 to 5 different subgenres.
Sure.
So Joy Division obviously is part of what we would call the post-punk.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where I found myself. All the post-punk bands is where I
Where
like.
does Ronald Reagan fall in?
Ronald Reagan falls not in any of this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, he's
he
part
was
of the 80s.
he was part of what all these guys were rebelling against.
Well, they were fools because he's the greatest president.
Yeah, Thatcher and Ronald Reagan were these guys fought that.
Yeah.
But then you had the New Romantics, of course,
Yeah.
and you would say the New Romantics were a
That's a good band name.
Hey,
it is.
Which, by the way, we had a listener
band
chime
name.
in last week
Yeah.
that I thought was a really rad idea. And Dexter and I were like, we should do this. So Press and Heart, they support us. They're really rad. They make our T-shirts.
Nice.
They've never made me a T-shirt.
They've never made you a T-shirt, but you could probably grab one of our Morning Invasion T-shirts. Somebody on Friday said, you guys say these phrases randomly, and it's like, that's a great band name. And so they said, what if you guys compiled a list of all of the random phrases you say that sound kind of like band names, and then let the listeners vote on the best fake band name over the course of the year, and you guys make a T-shirt out of that
And
fake
not
band
only
name.
that, how about we
Right?
take here's even one step further. That's
Next
a great
level. Take it
idea.
next level, Peanuts.
Next level.
He's going to actually form a band.
How about we form a band with the five of us, and then we record one song and we put it out, and all
never been done
proceeds
before.
go to Star 88.
Never been done before here.
Actually, a great idea.
All proceeds go to Star 88.
I have one question.
Okay.
Who's our fifth member?
Yeah.
Stephen Christian, of course.
Oh,
we'd
okay.
have to.
Stephen Christian. So Stephen Christian, he'll
Okay.
sing.
Perfect.
No. Here's the whole thing.
Oh.
We've got to put people in positions.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, Dex
Yeah.
is going to be our singer. He's
okay.
Steve-O, you're going to be.
Yeah, I got some samples for you.
Yeah. Dex, play
like-
some of those samples of
Don't stop
Yeah.
being mom.
Yeah. Mother's Day.
Come on now and give me a hug. Your cooking
That's good.
is on par.
Look, yeah, I'll totally.
You'll rock
I
it.
will totally rock the lead position.
That sounds good.
that-
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Is that really you?
That's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
See, you thought it was like a real artist,
Oh,
right?
he thought you were Steve
Yeah.
Perry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's not
was-
Steve Perry, man.
Yeah.
That was Dex.
So we'll
That
have
was
Dex.
fantastic.
We'll have Dex sing because Dex doesn't play an instrument.
Yeah.
So we'll record the song, and then all proceeds go to Star
Well,
88.
what are we gonna like? So James is normally a guitar player. Does that mean he's got to play drums or something?
James is going to play whatever James wants. He's in Cutlass.
Oh, okay.
He's in
I see you got my writer.
And here's the thing, James's band Cutlass, they're still around.
Yeah.
Amberland isn't.
Yeah,
Amberland's
that's
like
true.
they're old hat. They're they're passe.
They're past.
So Steven, we're just going to place him with all the instruments that no one wants to play. That's what Steven gets to play.
Boom. Oh my gosh.
He'd probably make it sound wonderful, though.
Yeah, he may. So James gets to play what because his band's still going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he could play whatever.
Much like Stacy's mom.
Steve-O will probably be relegated to guitar or bass.
Why is that relegated? I'm down with that.
Okay, and then our singer, and then Steve and Christian, whatever we tell him to.
What are you gonna play?
Whatever's
mandolin.
left. I'll play whatever's left.
The accordion.
Accordion.
Mandolin and
Flute.
the accordion at the same time.
Flute? You guys
He
do?
plays like stupid amounts of instruments.
Should we play? I mean, anything we
The
want.
Czar.
Okay.
The czar?
czar?
Like the Russian czar? I'm going to play a person.
Played
Play
him.
him.
Played him for a fool.
Is that not an instrument? The Czar?
No, but
Not
it
yet.
Is, it is a
Not
Russian. It is a Russian oligarch. You know, like a Russian leader.
Somebody said this is an excellent idea, but you have to do it in 80s hairband style fashion.
Oh, well,
Or
Dex was sort of hitting that '80s Steve Perry
Yeah,
thing.
I got it going on, man. I mean, it's I can do a bunch of different types of vocal.
I just have
I got a big range.
ask you once more. Are you for
Right here.
sure? I'm yours.
All right, let me break it down. Break it down right here.
Okay. That's not a breakdown per se, but that's good.
No,
Right
that.
here. Hold on.
That's good.
That's good. You're hired.
I got it.
You're
I
hired.
got it, guys. I'm taking lead.
You're hired.
Taking lead.
The only problem is our studio right now here at Calvary. We don't have an engineer. So
I'll do that
so,
too. That's
so we
cool.
would have to like record it. We'd have to write the
Lead
song and
singer
record
and
it
engineer at the
ourselves.
same time.
Okay, you guys ready for this question? Because
Yes.
since you're in studio and
Uh-oh,
James
people
is
are
the
s-
other you,
People are starting to ask
like
questions.
you've got like
man.
17 diplomas. He's about to get his next one from Grand Canyon University.
Shout out.
Have you guys heard the rumor that supposedly today is going to be the start of the book of Revelation because the U.S. Embassy is moving to Jerusalem today, and supposedly the Bible depicted that something would happen 70 years after Israel became a nation again? Sounds far-fetched to me, but just wondering, have you guys heard?
I
you
have
heard that?
not heard, and nor
Today's
would
the
I
start.
give it
Wow.
a lot of credence. Because here's
May 14th, also known as Revelation 1:1.
here's my take on it. My take on if Jesus says no man knows the day or time, including the Son of Man, Jesus himself,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to take any guess as to when it's going to start. If Jesus said in his earthly ministry he didn't know, who's to say that I think I know?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that rumor though.
No, that sounds like a misinterpretation of Daniel chapter 9, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Daniel chapter 9.
But the funny thing to me is, like, anytime someone names a date, I'm always like, well, that's not going to be it now because you said it is.
Right.
So
Right.
It's like a false dilemma.
Yeah.
Phoenix, your role is to play the typewriter.
Ooh, that you know
He's
what?
like,
there is a typewriter orchestra. There's a couple of them now.
Really?
And so yeah, there's typewriter orchestras. So what's really
I
cool
love that
is
you know this.
if we like even got a typewriter to do some of the percussion instruments, we could integrate all the nuances of who we are. Yeah, there's typewriter
This is
orchestra.
real.
This is real. Listen to it. Come on. The typewriter orchestra.
There's also a Scottish shouting choir, and it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, there's some fabulous stuff out there. Here we go.
That's amazing. Wow.
Okay.
This can't be real.
No,
that
it's real.
dude
That's
shreds.
real. That's real.
Straight up, dude. Look up the Scottish shouting choir.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel
so
things.
they're saying that, like, play the typewriter, and people are already putting typewriters in orchestral pieces.
awesome.
It's awesome, man. And the Scottish Shouting Orchestra, they're pretty awesome as well. There's some really fabulous, bizarre stuff out there.
oddball musical projects for sure.
Now I'm just staring, waiting.
Which one is it?
I want somebody to play Guitar Hero because that kind of could work because it's like the clicking from the guitar.
Do you remember when David Crowder Band had the original
Yes.
lineup that then became the digital age?
Yes.
Okay, so BWAC, the drummer, who's like a engineering genius, and would just like create little electronic goodies all the time. He actually converted one of those Guitar Hero guitars to actually
I love that.
a programmable instrument that they incorporated into their show.
Dude, it was so rad.
And
but I
their
mean like the
drumming
typewriter
robot
where
that
it
he
literally
made.
just clicks, click, click, click,
Yeah.
click, click. Yes, the drumming robot. Yeah.
Yeah, that was neat.
Gosh.
Man, where's the Scottish Shouting Orchestra?
Yeah, it was which one
He
is it?
looked.
I don't know.
I put choir. Should I put?
Oh yeah, orchestra. Scottish Shouting Orchestra.
You typed OR and then gave up.
Which one is it? Which
We're
one
in
do I do?
radio for a reason.
Yeah.
Which one?
I
don't
just
know.
do one. Just
pick
click one.
Let's
Yeah,
roll the
yeah,
dice.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's clean.
That sounds very Scottish. Now where's the shouting?
Yeah, this doesn't sound like shouting.
Yeah. No, I think it's just the Scottish orchestra.
Somebody said the Scottish shouting choir. You mean any bar in Scotland?
Well played.
Yes. Yes.
So,
but Scotland didn't make the World Cup this year. Neither did America, though.
I know.
okay, somebody just chimed in and said, thank you guys for bringing this up. My mom has been going on a lot about this whole Revelation thing. A lot of her information is from people on YouTube who claim to be super Christians.
Oh, jeez.
Super Christians?
Yeah, super
Yeah.
Christians.
I didn't know
It's
you
like
could
the
get
Justice
that.
League.
Yeah, that's like
Wow.
people who have deeper insight into Scripture.
Yeah.
Super dupes.
I didn't know you could achieve that.
Yeah, the super duper
some people do
Christian
claim they can.
league. Yes.
Again, I come back to I approach Scripture fairly simply. I actually believe what Jesus says. So if I look at what someone else is saying on one hand and what Jesus is saying on the other hand, I'll invariably go with what Jesus says.
Yeah.
And if Jesus said, "No man knows the day or time, not even the Son of Man," I'm going to believe Jesus. So the moment people start setting dates and setting this and saying that, then I go, well, I don't know. Now, is it plausible someone could prophesy this, I guess it's plausible. But here's the thing about prophecy in the modern world. You have to be in accordance with Scripture.
Yeah.
You can't just start spouting things off
Right.
left and right, because then it turns into, a false prophecy.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you would be akin to a false prophet.
And the parameters for modern day prophecy fall more along the lines of
Teaching.
exhortation
Yeah, exactly.
and teaching.
Exactly. Yeah,
Encouraging.
the modern prophet would be like a modern Bible teacher, someone who is proclaiming the word of the Lord to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who would say that they have a prophetic word that Jesus is coming back tomorrow, again, I would just come back and say, well, boy, here's what Jesus said.
But it was on YouTube, Phoenix, so it must be.
It must be right.
Yeah, it was YouTube.
Yeah,
It was YouTube. If
totally.
you're just joining us, the prophet
Totally.
on YouTube said that Revelation's kicking off today because it's the 70th anniversary of Israel becoming their own crew.
And it's also the day that the start. But here, let's just rewind 2 years.
Okay.
Remember the blood moons, guys?
Yeah.
Blood moons.
Yeah, they
Who
came.
could forget them?
Yeah, they
or
came.
the Aztec calendar
The
of
Aztec calendar.
2012.
That was a messy
wrong.
day. I had to sacrifice 3 rabbits that
Yeah.
day.
Did you?
man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know my house was spared.
And then
so-
literally, you go back.
I'm just kidding.
You go back every 3 years. You go back in time.
Yeah.
And you get people who are always making proclamations.
Remember that Harold guy, with all the
Harold
signs?
Camping.
Harold
Yes.
Camping, yeah.
Harold Camping.
Mhm.
And all of them have been wrong. They all have one thing in common. They're wrong.
Yeah.
What if they were right though when we're actually in the New Jerusalem? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Yikes.
I
yeah,
think
don't get me started on that one.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So here's the other thing.
This does not
Terribly
live
wrong.
up to the hype then.
and by the way, guys, this isn't just like our last 50 years. This goes back. The
Sure.
Jehovah's Witnesses, they actually got so stoked that Jesus was coming back. A good portion of them went up to a hill and waited for Christ's return, and he didn't. So they had to go back and they formed a denomination.
You know it's bad when this is how they come to terms with like, no guys, this is real. It's because like the sign is trumpets, right? And Trump,
It's-
Pence.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes.
I didn't even think about
I
that.
remember-
Yes, 20 Trump and
Did someone
Donald
actually
Trump,
make that
somebody actually just
correlation?
Yeah. Oh,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
actually yes just
Yeah.
sent that in
No.
like that's where they get one of them because of the trumpets and it's Trump Pence Trumpets
Yeah,
in the
I
White
get it.
House.
I
That
get
makes
it.
sense.
So here's the other
thus
thing. Everyone could read in
behold.
as much as you want.
Yeah.
So when I was young or younger, speaking of Ronald Reagan, everyone thought Ronald Reagan was the Antichrist.
Well, they're idiots because he's the greatest president.
No, why they thought he was is because when you parse his name, you had 666.
Oh, wow.
So people will read into anything.
Sure.
But again, I approach it very simply. What Jesus said versus what all these other people say. And I'm just going to believe Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just what it's going to come down to for me.
To the listeners and people kind of chiming in online and stuff, though, there's some really, really great studies about this from some great scholars and theologians. Joel Rosenberg comes to mind. If you want to read some of his books on that, Epicenter, I think there's volume 1 and volume 2 now, but those are just fantastic reads.
Dead
on,
Heat was one of my favorite.
Sure. Yeah. So as a messianic Jewish believer in Jesus, Joel Rosenberg, I believe, has been supernaturally gifted with just insight into specifically Ezekiel 38 and 39. And he does a lot of work kind of unpacking those scriptures and what it means in the current geopolitical movement. So check out Epicenter. There's a lot of great stuff to read. And really the best case scenario is like Phoenix said, just trust Jesus and be like the Bereans. Paul, he commended them for their dedication to searching the scriptures to see if what he was saying
See,
was
and testing
true.
all things. Like this goes back
Yeah.
to the guy testing his girlfriend earlier.
but not
by
the
keeping
same.
his house messy.
But not the same.
And speaking of Epicenter, I think, wasn't Steve like maybe 7 years ago, we had an Epicenter conference with Joel here.
Yeah, here.
And
Yeah.
so you
That
may
guy
even
is
be able
so
to get
cool.
online
Yeah.
to Calvary ABQ
Yeah.
and look up the Epicenter conference and watch some of the stuff there. It was a great conference because there was some really, as I understand, some tense moments in
Sure.
that there were some Palestinians and Israelis on stage, and they were all trying to work through, different ideas
Wow.
and such. And so I think there's a profound nature, when people of differing opinions come together
Sure.
and try to seek solace.
Somebody said, but in the old hymn, the trumpet shall resound, the Lord shall descend, and Trump has been sounding and resounding aplenty lately. Am I right? Am I right? Somebody said this annoys me actually because her mom is like hung up on this right now.
Right.
Said I tell her to actually read scripture and interpret it herself, but she's watched so many of these stupid YouTube videos. It makes her really believe these people are right.
That can be such a bad thing. We have to be careful with.
Yeah,
I remember there was a time in my life in my 20s where I was getting sucked into that wormhole of, my gosh, and it became like it consumed me.
No, I know. As a matter of fact, recently, about a week and a half ago, one of our workers here at Calvary, she came up to me and she said, "Do you think you could talk to my dad? Because he's been watching these YouTube videos so much that he's convinced that they found giants in a cave in Iran or Iraq."
That's not true.
In one of those. And I said, well, first of all, I don't think that's correct. And I said, secondly, has he been talking with another of our former employees here who had some strange things? Our good friend Jarrett Petro, of course, always would have these, like he watched something on YouTube and he actually believed it. And I would be like, wait, Jarrett.
Were these people talking about like Nephilim or something?
Like Nephilim.
Yeah.
They found giants in a cave and they have pictures of it. And there's this person they'll walk down and go, look. And I go, that's all set up. That's all fake, guys. Newsflash. They could do fake stuff on YouTube.
No, they won't allow that on YouTube.
I don't know, man. I watched a documentary once on Netflix called Troll Hunters, and it was really convincing. There's trolls in the Netherlands, man.
There's trolls in Central Park. That's an old Saturday Night Live skit, by the way. There's a troll in Central Park.
It's so sad that people, because other people are chiming in like, don't even get me started, like the Illuminati and all of these things that our parents are choosing to believe because they're watching these YouTube videos and it's like, that is the gospel truth.
Right.
That person's got 4 million subscribers, so they know about Katy Perry and the Illuminati.
Here's the thing. I think particularly Christians, we need to be people who seek the truth in all areas. Not only biblical truth, but we need to seek truth in all areas, be it historical truth or scientific truth. We need to be people who are truth, seekers. And so we really have to train ourselves not just to believe anything that's put on YouTube or anything that's written on the internet. We really have to do our research. I can't tell you how many times throughout history, recent history, my life, that people have come up and said, hey, did you hear this? Did you hear this? I simply just took the phrase or whatever and typed it in. And then, sites that dedicate themselves to like unearthing the truth, they go, no, this was false. It started here and so on and so forth. And I go, if you just did 5 minutes, that's all, 5 minutes of research, you would determine that what you're promoting and saying is not true. And Christians need to be people of truth. Here's the thing. Throughout history, there's been 3 what they call transcendentals. And these are what we would call virtues today. And they were truth, beauty, and goodness. And truth is one of those things that we as Christians need to be about. Goodness, living a good life, living a holy life. And then, the pursuit of beauty. These are things that are important. We shouldn't take them haphazardly. We should really, look to find the truth as doing it unto the Lord.
And to clarify, that's not surface beauty we're talking about. We're talking about the beauty of the glory of the Lord.
It begins and emanates from the glory of the Lord. But, the idea of what it means to live, a beautiful life. It's Paul in Philippians 4:8, whatever things are, lovely or beautiful, whatever things are true, whatever things are good. And he goes on, think on these things.
Yeah.
These are the things that we need to be thinking about. Philippians 4:8.
What if you just watched a YouTube video about the giant of Kandahar and look at this. These are real photos of U.S. soldiers.
That's a real photo?
That's a real photo, man. The giant of Kandahar. That's a real photo.
Furthermore,
look at that.
Along those points, though, Jesus himself challenges us. He says, do not be ignorant of these things.
That's right.
Right.
So, so first of all, search the scriptures, be like the Bereans. And then there are some really great books written by some people who also study the scriptures.
Right.
Yeah. The Da Vinci Code.
Stop it.
Stop it.
There's a really great documentary called I'm just kidding.
Good Night Moon.
Good Night.
Good Night
for
Moon.
instance.
It's good stuff.
It's about the blood moons.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Thebes chimed in
Yeah.
and said, my mom actually got caught up in the Da Vinci Code garbage.
Of course.
Asked her where she would find that book in the bookstore. After I convinced her it was fiction, she kind of understood. I remember when that first came out.
I had a family member
It
that
was a
walked away
big
from their
deal.
faith because of that
Oh
movie.
my gosh. That's horrible.
The movie or the book?
The movie.
Wow.
I mean,
the movie.
So they even have the Reader's Digest version of it and they walked
to
away.
be fair, though, to that family member, I wanted to simply because I was like, Tom Hanks, no. You were so perfect. I'm just kidding. Dude, it was a bad movie.
Tom Hanks. Good old Tom. You know, I love Tom.
R.I.P..
I love
What?
Tom Hanks because, you know, he loves typewriters.
He does
of
love
course.
typewriters.
And not
Bring
only
it
that,
back.
you know, he's related to my wife. So
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a
haven't seen
cousin.
Cousin
Always.
Hanks.
Cousin
we call
Hanks.
him around the
So
table.
you want to know a little interesting tidbit of history?
No.
Okay, so this is it. This is it about my wife's family. They have a fascinating family. So my wife's is part Portuguese. So Tom Hanks is part Portuguese. So they
Portuguese.
share they share the same great grandparents somewhere. Like his, you know, they have the great grandparents. But what's interesting is there's the family history book that someone wrote about the Costa family, and you know, Melanie's in this and so on and so forth. Tom Hanks in this and everything else. But here's what's cool. The guy that wrote and compiled this book was one of the Monument Men. Yeah. Played by, who was George Clooney? Who were the Monument Men?
John
Movie?
Goodman.
saw that
Goodman.
movie.
The dude from Downton Abbey and Paddington, which are the
Yes.
cutest movies of all time. The Paddington movies.
Yeah.
Who else was in that? Wasn't George Clooney in
George
that? You said
Clooney. Yeah.
George Clooney.
So the Monument Men.
I'm gonna go back.
He was
That
one of the
movie was
Monument
awesome.
Men. So he compiled it. And so at the end, when they show the real pictures of like who the real monument men, that's my wife's great uncle. So
George Clooney directed that film.
did he really?
Wow.
Yeah. So my wife's great uncle is like one
He
of the
also wrote the
originals.
screenplay,
And
sorry.
he wrote the book about their Portuguese family, which Tom Hanks is in.
Wow.
So my
You're
wife
married to royalty.
I'm married
mean,
to typewriter royalty.
Bill Murray was in it. Matt Damon was in it. You guys
Wow.
didn't mention
Matt
like really good
Damon.
actors.
Man.
It's like good actors.
And Steve, for a guy who watches every movie that comes
know.
out, the fact that you didn't see this,
Oh, sorry. It was a historical war drama
No,
written and
no.
directed by George Clooney. I was
But
like,
listen,
"Meh."
no, it's not a sleepy.
Really?
It's funny.
it's
Okay.
based on
Yeah.
a true story.
It's
yeah.
exciting. It's funny.
Yeah.
I do love Bill Murray.
It's good. Yeah, Bill Murray's in
Yeah.
it.
And so my wife's uncle was one of those original guys.
That's
Nice.
crazy.
I don't know which one. I don't know, like I would like to say he was Bill Murray, but I don't know who he was.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I'll claim
Don't we
that
all
one.
want to be Bill Murray?
Okay, guys, I
Not
got to get
really.
over to school, but it was
Okay.
fun hanging out
It
with
was
you.
fun
Brian.
hanging. All right.
Brian Nixon,
You guys
everybody.
rock.
We'll see you on Thursday. 3 degrees, 7 o'clock.
When am I coming with you?
James from Cutlass hanging out with us.
Yeah.
So when we come back, new parenting advice. We need you to chime in. We're on Facebook
Oh
Live,
my gosh,
YouTube,
yes.
and you can text in 505-585-LIVE. We'll be right back. Hang on.
Pastor Jack Graham and a Star 88 Supernova.
As far as I know, there is no real definition of faith in the Bible where you just have a sentence that says this is faith, but there are many descriptions in the Bible. And in Hebrews chapter 11, we're told that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Faith is real. People say, give me something real. Don't give me this faith thing. But did you know that faith and the supernatural is more real than the very air you breathe right now? There is an unseen world accessed by faith. We connect by faith when we're on the network of faith. And it's very real. God has given each person the capacity to believe. It's like a sixth sense. Not a physical sense, but a sense and a sensibility.
Catch Pastor Jack Graham, PowerPoint, broadcast weekdays at 10:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT. Carry a beach or stow and a solar flare. When you get into a tight place and everything goes against you, till it seems as though you could not hold on a minute longer, never give up then. For that is just the place and time that's tide will turn. Star 88.
My feet were made to march like thunder. My lips to praise in awe and wonder. My hands hold power and my lungs breathe fire. Holy Spirit fire, Holy Spirit fire. All on your love I stand. Because of who you are, I know who I am. Wherever I will go, wherever you will lead, I never walk alone. Your spirit is with me. Oh, you're with me as I go, so I will not be afraid. You call me to be brave. In you, you call me to be brave. No height, no depth, no fear can shake me. Held firm, your hands will never fail me. I won't lose strength, for your strength is mine. You will be my light through the darkest night. All on your love I stand. Because of who you are, I know who I am. Wherever I will go, wherever you will lead, I never walk alone. Your spirit is with me. Oh, you're with me as I go, so I will not be afraid. You call me to be brave. In you,
Rise up, stand on faith. I will not be afraid. Your spirit lives inside. Your spirit is alive.
Rise up, stand on faith. I will not be afraid. Your spirit lives inside. Your spirit is alive. Rise up, stand on faith. I will not be afraid. Is alive. Your spirit is alive. Wherever I will go, wherever you will lead, I never walk alone. Your spirit is with me. Oh, you're with me as I go, so I will not be afraid. You call me to be brave. In you,
Judah Smith seeks to define the purpose and meaning in life. He says life is to trust God in every moment.
Just let a little success happen to us, and all of a sudden the world admires us and adores us, and all of a sudden we're like, Jesus, we're going to talk and we're going to talk, but right now I'm going to get mine while the get's good. They don't want to remember that they were lepers. That was the worst time of their life. I'm not trying to remember that I was lost and broken and broke and bankrupt and divorced. Man, I got perception. People believe me to be a sparkling success, and I'm starting to kind of like it. I'm not trying to go back to Jesus and remember that I was lost and then he found me and I was broke and a joke. I'm trying to live up to who people say that I am, and if you're not careful, you start living a parody of who you really are. And you live out what people say about you. And you know who you really are? You're a dead man walking without Jesus.
Trust God in every moment. That's Judah Smith with a Star 88 PowerPoint.
What's going on in the news today?
The Paris knife attacker's name is Kamzat Azimov and was on the nationwide database of radicalized people. Police say he was born in the majority Muslim Russian Republic of Chechnya. His parents are being questioned.
Avengers Infinity War maintaining its staying power on top of the movie box office, another $61.8 million in week number 3.
Canada is going to be competing with all of those other places that it provides the weather information to by developing its own mobile weather app.
Atlantic hurricanes often get the attention due to their proximity to the U.S., but occasionally Pacific storms wreak havoc too. Some can threaten Hawaii, others may lose their cohesion, but the remaining rains can drench and flood the American Southwest.
A girl is hospitalized with serious injuries after being attacked by a bear outside her home near Grand Junction, Colorado. The girl's mother telling wildlife officers that her daughter went outside around 2:30 a.m. to investigate noises she thought might be related to her dog. The mother then heard screaming and found her daughter being dragged by a large black bear. The bear dropped the girl after the mom began screaming at the animal.
Gosh, that news, man. It's 2018. Why's it got to be a black bear, you know?
Oh my Don't bring color into it, man. I don't see color. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. Live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88
You're
Studios.
for sure getting a phone call about that later.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Dude.
Welcome, everybody.
Is this a joke?
No.
It's not.
No, we're here.
James from Cutlass is hanging out with us in studio.
Hey-o.
It's been a lot of fun. If you
That's
missed
on
any
his
of the
business
show.
card. Yep.
Yeah, James from Cutlass?
James, it
It's on
just
his
says
business
James from Cutlass on his business card.
It's actually James Krasinski. He's a beautiful man. Yeah, if you missed any of the show this morning, we upload the show on Facebook Live and YouTube Live right after the show at 10, so you can go back. We're also on demand through the app or iTunes. Just search Morning Invasion or Star 88.
SoundCloud, Google
We're
Play.
out there. Google
We're
us, guys.
everywhere.
Google us.
Googler.
I think we should, before we get into the parenting advice, let's jump into the breaking news that is out so we can pray and be thinking about what's
Matthew
happening.
in St. Louis sent us this, and this is crazy. As we were just talking about Israel, May 14th, 1948, 70 years, like Israel's a nation, and Israel says 3 armed terrorists are among 41 reported dead in a Gaza border clash. Wow. This just broke across, and it's crazy, guys.
Yeah.
They're calling it Bloody Monday. At least 3 of the 41 Palestinians reportedly killed Monday in clashes ahead of the Jerusalem opening of the U.S. Embassy were armed terrorists caught trying to plant a bomb near the Gaza border fence. So there were more than 35,000 protesters amassed at a dozen locations along the security fence because today is, it's a historic day.
Yeah.
And so, many engaging in skirmishes that pushed the death toll Monday to the highest in Gaza since the 2014 cross-border standoff between the Hamas and the Jewish state. 41 people so far have been killed in today's violence, and at least 772 have been wounded.
Oh my goodness.
So basically, this is the relocation of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem infuriated the Palestinians. And so it's just, we need to be praying for Israel right now, because that just, it broke across right now. And I was just going, I didn't even know what to say.
Can we say a prayer for them right now?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
I would love to.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Almighty God, we just cry out to you now for our brothers and sisters over in Israel, people on every side of faith, honestly, because we know that you seek and save the lost of all kinds, myself included. God, we just pray that you'd be merciful to them in the wake of this violence and death and brutality. Your word compels us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, so we do just ask you, Jesus, please intervene. We pray for your peace to be upon that city. We know that you have great plans for your people, to prosper them, to bring them through to a future of glory. And we thank you that you have set that up in our lives as well. But we are empowered right now through that restored relationship to be able to pray for them. So, Lord, we just pray a covering, just your supernatural covering over them. We pray for the hundreds of, women and children innocent bystanders who are now injured and dealing with the fear and turmoil of this day. May your peace be upon your people, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. That was good, man. Yeah, be praying, guys. It's not the news you want to wake up to.
Right.
Especially in the light of just saying like, oh yeah, let's celebrate. That's
We're
a great,
literally
that's a
just
great
talking
date.
about it.
Moments ago. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
70 years ago today.
That's what happens.
Israel became a nation.
Okay.
All right. Well.
So parenting advice.
So parenting.
Yeah.
There's no way to segue.
I've
on that.
got,
So
number
parenting
one,
advice.
don't go to the Gaza border wall with your kids.
Oh, jeez.
I'm trying
Good
to
advice.
sag.
It's good advice.
I'm trying to sag.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. This
I need
is-
to clarify though. Is the advice new or is this advice for new parents?
New.
Is it new parenting advice?
This is new. This is new.
New parent for a new parent or for a parent. This is just new to the
This
parent.
is the brand new advice for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I wanted to know.
This is crazy. There's an organization in Australia that works on teaching
Australia.
children about consent. And a representative from that group was just on TV in Australia, and she said people should ask their baby for permission before they change their diaper.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever
That's
heard. I'm
that's
sorry.
really neat though, because you're teaching your child how to communicate at an age where that's usually impossible.
Right?
So
well, let's hear from her.
Maybe
Let's see.
Australian kids are super smart.
This is Dina Carson. She's the expert in Australia.
She's the expert.
We work from children from 3 years old. We work with parents from birth.
From birth?
Yeah. Just about how to set up a culture of consent in their homes. So I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay? Of course, the baby's not going to respond, yes, Mum, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed. But if you leave a space and wait for body language and wait to make eye contact, then you're letting that child know that their response matters.
Okay.
Okay,
Listen.
concept-wise, man, that's great, I guess, but how practical is that? Like, all of us that have been parents, like, that's just not possible sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds dumb, but there's a really rad book called Shepherding a Child's Heart.
Okay.
That is like the antithesis of this, because it talks about the fact that when they are younger, if you go, do you want to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt? It sounds really stupid, but it's like relinquishing that control, and essentially you are taking away the power as a parent and giving them the control over you. And it was like, well, that's really interesting.
What if your child responds, I want to wear the black shirt? What do you do then? Ask that lady from Australia.
Yeah, right?
So, but that's a real thing. I always talked about how you just don't give them the option. Like, I have friends who have kids that are like really picky eaters, and I'm like, oh, I guess I've never understood that, because we've never been like, okay, well, if you don't like what we're eating for dinner, then just there's cereal, or you can make a sandwich, or there's just options, because eat your dinner!
Dude, if
This is all there is!
If I ever told my mom I didn't want what was being
Oh,
made,
man.
she was like, fine, go to your
Then
room.
go to bed.
Yeah, you went
Bye.
to bed hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I sat at the table until it was finished.
And this just is yet another thing where we're like, hello, infant child.
Yes.
I would like to parent you, but
Yeah.
before I do I in fact have your permission to be the person that God has placed above you that is
You can't say
charged with
above.
caring?
You can't say
above. Unilaterally placed aside you to care and nurture and protect you and grow you and raise you in the way you should go, so that when you're older, you will be a disrespectful, disobedient turd.
So here's the thing, though. Like, obviously, as a parent, I believe in, and this changes and evolves as my son ages and becomes more mature. But I want to empower him, to be able to articulate how he's feeling and be communicative and to be self-aware, especially with me.
Yes.
And Lindsay. And I want to be able to show him this culture of respect in our home.
Yes.
Especially man to man.
So it sounds stupid what this expert is saying, but at the same time, you're right. you're teaching your kid, because we talked about this a little while ago about making your child go and hug somebody that they don't want to go hug. Remember when we talked about that?
Yep.
Like my parents, if a family member of somebody
Go hug your aunt.
Go hug, but who knows? What if
they're a creeper?
Uncle Ted is a creeper and you feel uncomfortable? You shouldn't make your child go across the room and hug that person.
But there's a way to do that without breaking it down and giving the child control. Like, because you said you want Jacob to understand that he always has a voice, but that doesn't necessarily mean his voice supersedes yours as a father.
Not at all.
And so, because there are statements that you should never say to a child. If your child is trying to communicate with you and the first thing out of your mouth is, "It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you say. I don't care." That's the big one. I don't care. I don't care. You're just literally telling your kid, like, oh, because their voice still matters and they can still express their opinion. You still have a responsibility as a parent to be like, this is this, that is that. No, you may not do that. Go to your room. You know what I mean? And when we relinquish that control, like, we've just lost it. Yeah. And one of the most negative things we can do is tell them that it doesn't matter or I don't care, because in turn you're doing exactly what James is just saying not to do. Like, seriously, it's like you're telling them they don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they hear. Their voice doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The things they're saying don't matter. And they do matter. It's just in this situation, you are the parent. You should be able to parent, you know, and they should respect that, whatever it is, because you're dad or mom.
Yeah.
But you should, there's a way to do it without belittling them to the point where they just give up.
Totally.
Yeah, and this expert in Australia is pretty much saying, of course, when you ask the baby for permission, if you can change their diaper, they don't have a voice, but it's teaching them from the time that they're a baby to later as they grow.
Somebody chimed in on live and said, "The police, stop, get on the ground." Response: my response matters. I do not consent to getting on the ground.
Nice.
He said, no.
That's how that
sometimes you
plays
just
out.
get on the ground,
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
Like, you respect the authority, like, right? Yeah. So people are chiming in. So many people. 505-585 live. Somebody said, "Wait, what's a nappy?" that's the diaper in Australia.
Australia.
Somebody else said, "Of course, this girl has pink hair. Stupid, stupid, stupid." I guess they looked it up, and this girl.
Geez. What's wrong with pink hair?
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Like, that's got to be. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what's wrong.
That's like
That's
fuchsia.
what's wrong with
Chartreuse.
Yeah. So somebody said, "I have an infant, 3 months old, and when he is poopy, I change him. He laughs." Yeah. Somebody else said, "Yes, be the parent."
Yeah.
What about, somebody said, what about when your baby is screaming because they need their diaper changed? I doubt they're making eye contact when they're crying their eyes out. Gosh.
Yeah. Or inadvertently rubbing it into their own eyes. Yeah.
So, somebody else
The
sent
baby wiggle struggle is real.
Dude, it is so
It's
real.
man.
Somebody else just sent a Beauty and the Beast meme that says, "Then go ahead and starve," when my kid is having a meltdown and refuses to eat her dinner.
You know, a book I mentioned earlier in the context of our military friend that called in, and I mentioned that book, Love and Respect, by Dr. Egerlich. It's also a really cool DVD series, by the way. But what I wanted to mention, why I'm bringing it up again in context of parenting, to me, the biblical concepts that he unpacks about Ephesians chapter 4 are really true just across the board, definitely for marriage, but also just for understanding your daughter or son.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really valuable series to just look into, even if you're unmarried and single, or unmarried and in a relationship, or in the context of applying it to your parenting. Just understanding the way to sow love into and respect into your interactions with your children was really eye-opening to me. As I was watching the series with my wife, I was thinking, like, this is all like so applicable for me talking to Jacob too.
Mm-hmm.
And then another really popular book, The 5 Love Languages.
Yep.
I actually think that principle totally plays into how we parent our kids too.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding their love language is actually super important too.
Yeah.
And those are really practical ways and biblical ways of creating a culture of respect in your home.
That just
where
blew
you
my
give
mind.
them space.
You're literally the first human I've ever encountered who's like, you need to understand your child's love language so you can parent them better. And I'm like,
Of course.
oh
Jacob,
my gosh! gosh!
Jacob Mead is touch primarily and gifts, gift giving. And you could give him a tinfoil wrapper from a piece of gum that you folded in to look like a swan.
Yeah.
And that gift is so valuable to him, and it makes him feel loved.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's good to know. We're talking about this
Good
new
dude right
parenting
there.
advice.
Good dude right there.
This expert in Australia, she's saying, hey,
Expert.
you ask your baby.
Air
You
quotes.
ask your baby for
So
permission before you change their diaper.
Yeah.
And
you want to
she
establish a culture of consent.
she's pretty much saying, of course, the baby's not going to respond, but if you leave a space and wait for body language and eye contact, then you're letting that child know their response matters. They have a voice.
Are you ready for this one? Because this is harsh, but this is so interesting that this immediately pops up. They said, of course, liberal agenda, culture of consent, everyone has a voice. So the question is, have we ever asked a baby if it's cool to abort them?
Bro.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Right? And I
No,
was like,
I mean,
oh, snap.
no
because that's
commentary
coming
necessary.
from, right.
Yeah.
Because that's so interesting that's the culture we're in where everyone should have a voice. But what they're essentially saying is like, hey, culture of consent, everyone, but not this.
Yeah.
And that was, man.
Yeah. That's sobering thought.
And that's that's all we're going to say about that. Well played, sir.
Yeah.
Well played.
It's good.
I checked the phone number immediately. I was like, that's got to be Bill Peterson. Somebody.
He's on Better Call Saul this morning.
Somebody said there are love language books for kids and teens. So
Yeah, I've seen that as well. But really what I meant was just that concept is definitely applicable to how we parent our children.
Love it. Gosh, man.
Let's just listen to this lady.
We
one
work
more
from
time.
children from 3 years old. We work
See what
with
she
parents
says
from
here.
birth.
From birth.
And
Yeah.
wallabies.
Yeah. Just about how to set up a culture of consent in their homes.
Just wanna
So
watch Thor.
I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that
Okay, get out of here. Come on now. You and your pink hair, get out of here.
Somebody said that's why we're here as parents, to make sure that our babies get what they need and to know what they need to grow. Dude, parenting is an incredible responsibility. Like it really is. I have 3 boys that I have to be their dad sometimes, and it's hard.
Let me brag on your boys, though, for a second. I've been staying in your home for the last couple days, and Steve Jeter has the sweetest boys. I am blessed by hanging out with them.
Yeah.
That's a cool
They're
testimony
good
of
kids.
you and Chrissy
Mostly Chrissy.
sowing love and respect
Dude,
into
thank you, man.
those relationships.
That means
No,
everything.
no joke. Steve-O, you know.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Amen.
He's such a great dad.
No,
Both of them together, you and Chrissy, are incredible.
Listen, hey, don't downplay this.
Don't downplay
No,
it, bro.
I'm being serious. Don't downplay this. Own this. God has created with you a unique gift to connect to your sons,
Thank you.
and you're a great dad.
Thanks, man.
It's because you're a terrible kid growing up.
Just
That's
shut
why.
up! I'm good. You guys making me tear up. I hate it.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're crying, you jerk. It's just the best. It's the best title in the world.
It is.
Dad,
Yeah.
Daddy. Because my 14, he's 14. Jack. He still calls me Daddy. There's no dad. I still haven't gotten dad yet. It's still Daddy, and to me that's everything. So it's tough. I mean, it's a heavy weight. You know, like you gotta. I had to throw down the hammer a couple times this weekend because they're still boys. But
no, when Steve-O throws down, oh my gosh, he throws down. I mean, those Jeter boys, they have the fear of God. I mean, I've seen it
with
firsthand.
reverence and respect and awe, because lightning
right.
bolts from the sky will rain down upon them. No, I mean, maybe not. Maybe not.
James from Cutlass hanging out with us.
Can you just stay forever, man?
Please, can you be our third?
This has been so fun. I'm serious. Like, I'm loving it. Just that soft, like, just centered, like, you just, yes, thoughtful.
Just bringing it back.
Because Dex and I are just like, yeah! I'm saying this because it's on my mind.
I would be hoarse by like 9:15 a.m. if I talked like either one of you. I do not have the stamina.
Oh, man.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We're live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back.
I'm Heidi, and here's what's happening. happening. Celebrate our nation's independence at Freedom Celebration at Isotopes Park on Friday and Saturday, June 29th and 30th. This is a free event and it's open to everyone with fireworks on both nights, live music from artists like 10th Avenue North, Matt Maher, Sarah Reeves, and Trip Lee. There will be fun for the whole family with inflatable bounce houses, face painting, and much more. An evangelistic gospel message from Pastor Skip Heissick will also be featured each night. Doors open at 5 p.m. with the event kicking off at 7 p.m. Summer is almost here. School is ending and more things are happening in our community. Do you know of any free summer activities coming up like a VBS? If you do, let us know. We'll talk about them on the air and feature it on our website. All you have to do is send us the details to the wire at star88.fm. For more information about events happening in your community and so much more, visit star88.fm. For what's happening, I'm Heidi and this is Star 88.
Tony Evans. This is a Star 88 Supernova.
Christ is the head of every man. The man is the head of a woman, and God is the head of Christ. Okay, let me read that again. Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of a woman, not all women, and God is the head of Christ. Okay, so that did not come from me. So if you're going to get mad at God. He wrote it. God says in the order of things, everybody is supposed to be covered by somebody else. Covering. Or what he calls headship. The head of. And of course, the concept of head is taken from the body. The job of the head is to give direction and leadership to whatever it is leading.
That was Pastor Tony Evans on a Star 88 Supernova. This is KLYT Albuquerque, Santa Fe, rebroadcast on KKCJ Cannon Air Force Base, KPKJ Mintmore, K201CC Las Cruces, K203EZ Alamogordo, K207CQ Gallup, K211CW Hobbs, K212EH Silver City, K214DE Antonito, K218AK Artesia, K250AB Roswell, K293AO Alamosa, K228DQ Portales, in the free app for iOS and Android, and online at star88.fm. Steve-O.
Everybody needs love. They think they need money. Everybody wants time. They think it's a diamond. Oh, you never need likes to feel like somebody. And you never need hearts to live like a king. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time. You gotta take your time. You gotta feel yourself in the moment. Feel yourself in the moment. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time. You gotta take your time. You gotta feel yourself in the rhythm. 'Cause this world it's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. If you ever feel small or thinking nobody, you won't need to chase stars to have a reason to dance. So dance, don't know the rivers down through the clouds, and any moment they'll be open just to pull you down. You gotta hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time. You gotta take your time and feel yourself in the moment. Feel yourself in the moment. Oh, child, why you young? You gotta take your time. You gotta feel yourself in the rhythm. 'Cause this world it's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. Ooh, child, you were meant to run wild. 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 I see you and me dancing on the street, running through the middle of this broken love. Just you and I, moving through the night, caught up in the middle of this broken love. I see you and me singing through the street, running through the middle of this broken love. Just you and I, flying through the night, caught up in the middle of this broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love. It's a broken love.
The Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
We'll probably sit around and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
Monday. How's everybody doing? Are we hanging in there?
Yeah.
Brand new week.
Yeah.
It's going to be good, guys. It's going to be good. Welcome to the show, Morning Invasion. Joined by James from Cutlass. He's been hanging out with us all show. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude.
It's a lot of fun.
So, dudes.
And we're live on Facebook and YouTube. You can watch the show there. You can download the free app, Star 88 FM, and stream us right there. We're on demand. We've been talking about parenting advice. You know what? Don't listen to us. We don't know. I mean, come on. We don't know.
We've been doing this for some years, though. I
know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do.
I do.
Between us, we
Trust
got like
people with beards
70
like
years of parenting.
That's true.
I told you earlier it's a clip-on. Okay.
Yeah, I keep forgetting because it's so realistic.
It is
Gosh.
very realistic.
Just saying.
Most realistic looking beard I've seen in a while.
Yep.
Yeah, so feel free to chime in if you would like to be a part of the show. What's the live line number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483. Somebody chimed in and said, musician question.
Okay.
What guitar/amp setup does James from Cutlass run?
Are we doing this?
I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? We just got a question.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I play for a custom guitar company out of San Diego.
Oh, San Diego.
San Diego. Lovely. And it's called
I hate it there.
Kiesel Guitars. Kiesel like diesel, spelled the same.
But
Jeff,
with a K because the
yep.
90s.
Yeah, yeah. So Jeff Kiesel is rad. He's a third-generation guitar luthier, and he makes my guitars.
Oh, wow.
And so I have several different types of guitars from him, including one that I used on our latest album, Alpha and Alpha Omega. And I was showing Steve this yesterday.
Yeah.
I wanted to add sort of an unusual element to this worship record. So I played a 7-string guitar in drop A flat, like super sludgy, doomy sounding. And it was awesome. And so I just wanted this like tonal continuity throughout the album. And so that's on there. Kiesel 7-string, awesome guitar they make. I have a bunch of other ones. I also play a guitar from a custom company out in North Carolina that's Elliott Guitars, and it's the Tone Master, which was designed by Peter Stroud. He's a
cool.
great guitar player, plays for Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Co-founder of 65 Amps. And anyway, so for amps, I play, again, another custom company called Tyler Amps out of New Jersey. And John Brenton is the owner there. I actually used to be the A&R representative for Tyler Amps.
Oh, really?
And was getting a bunch of bands playing our stuff. So now we're seeing it everywhere.
I just have a Vox AC15. I just wish somebody had told me about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can try out some of mine.
This is so exciting!
And then, so I do the JT46 model, which
I like
is...
the 47, but whatever.
Sure, that is actually available. So joke backfired on you. Big boy. But so I played that, which is kind of modeled after the Marshall Blues Breaker, and then that's my clean sound. And then I play orange amplifiers for my dirty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to know what are some of the artists that influenced your playing style, your particular
My
playing
style. Okay. Can I say these?
You can say bands that have influenced your playing style. Of course you can.
The real answer is, first of all, James Hetfield.
Oh, Metallica.
The rhythm guitarist of Metallica. Stephen Carpenter, who's in Deftones, and that is probably the musical #1 influence for me. That has had the longest lasting and most direct impact on how I play guitar.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Johns from Silverchair.
Okay.
Those are kind of my go-to people for guitar music.
Somebody wanted to know, how come Cutlass stopped making the heavier stuff?
Yeah. Next question. So, hey, let me hope on the horizon.
Yes.
Here's the thing. This
Hope
is
on the horizon. Great.
Hope on the
great
horizon.
band. Write it down.
I'm
Let the
writing.
fans-
I'm going to start writing this
Okay,
down.
good.
I'm not even
I
joking.
love that.
So, Hope on the Horizon
That's
is
the album title.
so Christian, by the way. That is the
Can we do band names and then album
Christianist
titles?
band name
like,
of all time.
Yes.
Here's the real, like, kind of aerial, like, arc of our career. It has kind of gone heavy album, worship album, heavy album, worship album, alternating. So prior to Alpha Omega, which is a worship album, we had released Surrender, and that was like a hard rock album. Here's the thing. These fans are the most vocal, for sure, about our musical choices, and they share their opinions often. However, when we put out an album like that,
yes,
you don't buy it.
That's
that's a predicament for us.
That's like Waverly when they'd go on tour.
And here's the thing: what we want to do is primarily heavy music, because that serves. Earlier in the show, I spoke about our nonprofit ministry, EOTA Ministries. That serves our evangelistic purposes better, because we're able to reach a broader demographic, especially over in Eastern Europe, where they love like heavy metal and hard rock and stuff, right? If we sound like that, people are going to come. And when people come, we can tell them about Jesus.
Right.
So the reason I said there's hope on the horizon, hashtag new band.
Yeah.
John Micah and I have been John Micah and I have been discussing kind of what we want to do for our next recording. And bro, I want to make the heaviest Cutlass album of all time.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
Can we also talk about how you're actually a Satanist? Because you just mentioned like heavy music being your thing. And I just really want to talk about the fact that, like, speaking of ministering people, I'm trying to minister to James with Christian radio and telling him about good, wholesome Christian things, because he actually is in league with Lucifer.
Please clarify quickly.
I discovered this
Thank you.
yesterday. Yeah.
Like, don't let this hang.
We
on
were
the
just
air.
talking about haters and how weird this is, because you get detractors and you get people that are just like, this isn't Christian enough, or that isn't whatever. Oh, you guys played this artist on your radio station. You're now lukewarm. You're all going to hell. And he happened to show me a website where it was just one singular dude whose role was to destroy good people. And basically, because you guys played metal music or heavy rock. I don't even remember what he said. It was
Which
so
we don't,
stupid.
but okay.
Yeah. It was basically that James like actually was a Satanist. And I was in tears, because if you know James, or if you've been listening this morning for longer than 5 minutes, you can hear
He's
his
a super
heart,
Christian, guys.
and the fact that he loves Jesus, and everything is like evangelism and ministry for him and the band.
Thank
and
you.
so I was in tears last night reading this website. I don't even want to say the name of the website, but I kind of do, because it's very ironically.
It's incredibly ironic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
But here's the problem. So this person's claims are, they're just kind of funny, really, when you look at the collection. Like, he's taken random photos of me off the internet and like added a caption. There's one where I'm like kind of laughing, and he substituted a caption that says, James Mead laughs about wearing makeup.
Oh, dude, hold the website so I can.
And I'm just
check it
like,
out.
and I just imagine him being like, the audacity. He not only wears makeup, he laughs about it.
Oh, man.
That's his basis of argument. Yeah. Now, hang on, though, because I don't want to only belittle this person.
Yes.
The problem to me with this is, like, this person has actually come to concerts of ours in the past, picketing signs, yelling, spewing hatred at our fans lined up to come inside and everything. And various people on our tours have tried to engage him in the past, and I never have tried, because I just feel like I would.
Yeah, that's.
I feel like I would set him off, since there's so much directly about me. You know, he accuses me of wearing pentagram tattoos. I don't know how to wear a tattoo, but I also don't have any pentagram tattoos.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Wow,
and so
you look
he's
different without a beard.
He's clearly focusing on a lot of things that are really not true. But the problem to me is, here's what it all boils down to. If one who is claiming to be a Christian is so convinced that a particular person is going to hell, that person, through the love of Jesus and the compassion of our Lord being imprinted upon them, and then being the righteousness of Christ being imputed upon us, as we know is true when actual transformation takes place, that person should be brokenhearted. This person has never, ever mentioned any, a shred of brokenheartedness towards what he thinks is my ultimate demise, and I gladly know not to be true. But, and furthermore, just shouting these horrible things at our fans waiting to come inside, like, sir, if you are convinced that these people are in error and they're dangerously approaching something that is actually satanic, then why aren't you trying to rescue them?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not compassionate for the pain and the hurt in their life?
Yeah.
So to me, that is the obvious, first answer. Like, that's the fruit of the Spirit, like we're told in the scriptures. Like, there is no obvious fruit there that this person is brokenhearted about the fact that people are rejecting Christ and going to hell.
Yeah.
Dude, what? Here's something interesting. They taught he has proof. He has proof on the website.
He has proof, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, proof. On the left is pictured the professed Christian rock band Cutlass, and on the right is the heathen rock band Simple Plan.
Yeah, they're pretty much
Statement A: both rock bands are wearing black. B: they both have freaky hairstyles.
Freaky.
C: they all look worldly and miserable. And D: Simple Plan is making satanic signs here because they have the rock fist.
Yep, that's right.
And Cutlass wears pentagram tattoos in concert.
We wear them.
I rest my case.
So, I mean,
Hi, Phoenix.
How come you guys always pull me in on controversial subjects?
Well, we were talking about, now here's the thing. Like, here's one thing we were talking about last night in the privacy of my backyard. So I'm like, I was
there, Steve.
I was
It's
in
not that private.
tears laughing about this. And then, like, I broke a little bit because I feel bad for him.
I do. His
feel
entire website is about how he hates this and that. And
he
this and that.
hates Christian rock and roll. And like, not heavy metal. We're talking rock and roll because it's satanic, because it's carnality at its finest musically. Like, and he quotes certain scriptures and he quotes Cutlass lyrics and like, see, not one time did they say Jesus here. It's like, you're all I want, you're all I need. Clearly not about God. And it's like, wow.
Plus,
wow.
I am laughing about wearing makeup.
Yeah,
so
but and here's the hard part. Like, we are called to pray for those who persecute us.
Yeah.
Like, called to pray for our enemies. And it's really hard when the fiery darts and arrows are slung from someone who is proclaiming Jesus.
It sure is. Right.
And so it's like,
it's incredibly frustrating.
How do we respond to that? By the way, if you're just joining us, James Mead from Cutlass is satanic.
That's not true. That is not true.
That is false.
False information.
It is not true.
I'm here to testify.
It is like utter nonsense. It was funny to me and when we were talking about it last night, and then I just got really like bummed out because I'm like, this is one of the most genuine dudes I know, and like, if you spend any amount of time with him, you quickly realize that evangelism, like ministry, saving the lost, like this is your like heart and passion, and this guy's just like, it's
spewing
unreal,
hatred
man.
is what he's doing.
Yeah. But so
those are the very people that Jesus asks us to love and to go, be his representatives towards. It's just incredibly difficult with people like that.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a situation where you had a chance to meet this guy in person.
I don't think that would ever be healthy.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you didn't call him out on anything. You just loved the guy, and he saw that.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
There was a time. I mean, I've told the story in the air. A security guard had to like straight tackle a dude here who was trying to physically accost me because I was wearing my tattoos on holy ground, and he was like, just coming at me like I was a vile heathen and wanted to physically hurt me.
Well, Steve-O, to my credit, a couple of those tattoos, I read them wrong.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
And I thought,
Paul on Facebook Live said, wait, is this guy my dad? I remember like growing up, that was it, man. Like U2 was satanic. Like Stryper was cool, but everybody else was like Satan worshipers because
Yeah.
the long hair or the makeup or the whatever it was.
Here's a couple of thoughts
about it.
Couple of thoughts since you pulled me in on this, Steve-O.
Yeah.
Number one is that a general thought. Why is it that Christians are the only army, if you will, to use maybe not the best analogy, but army that shoots our own soldiers? You know, as Paul said, I'm all things to all people. That's a paraphrase, but you know that if you're reaching a contingency of people and you walk in looking like Mr. Rogers, or you're trying to reach a group of people, it may not work. So that's just one thing. It's just Christians shooting Christians is not healthy.
Right.
Generally speaking. Now, you may say, hey, I may disagree with this, or I may take a different angle, but you know what? God bless you. You know, go in the peace of the Lord.
Sure.
But secondly, is the whole premise that this kind of, vitriolic hate is built on is just wrong. Not only, is not rock and roll, a satanic methodology, then you could basically say that about any progression of music throughout history.
Right.
So using this guy's logic, if you were to say the new inventions of rock and roll or the new mandates or, styles or whatever, you would have to go back in history and say every new style. So the gospel hymns, they were new to their day. So does that make them wrong? And boy, they were using really sped up, perky tunes. Does that make them wrong?
Right.
So the thing is his logic is wrong, and sadly his heart is wrong.
And to be fair, he's also a dude that on his website spews that America needs to wake up because we are the cause of 9/11 because it's an inside job.
Can you send me that article?
No. He's got some crazy stuff on his website. So James is just one of the many people that he is like,
yeah. And the thing is, so this discussion aside from this person, this is not the only person I've heard these sort of complaints from, and it won't be the last. And, I think what we do, Cutlass, is very specific, and we feel called to it. And I think that if any Christian happened to agree with us or disagree with us, the best thing they could do is just consider the fruit of this ministry over the years. I have adamantly always professed that Cutlass is not my ministry. Cutlass is God's ministry, and I'm called to be a servant in that ministry. And we do a very specific thing, especially nowadays with the evangelistic model that we've tried to create with EOTA Ministries. And as a result of that, that has caused some criticism as well, because, we come to places like Ukraine, like I said earlier, are, have been indisposed towards, over the last several decades, towards, being very conservative and trying to, conserve like the purity of their Christian culture because it hasn't been allowed to grow and thrive and be outside of their own, churches or groups or anything. And so when you look like we do, that can cause some complaints by people who don't understand. But at the same time, I think one needs to consider Jesus came to this earth, and he came in the form of man. He chose to look like the people he was wanting to talk to. He could have chosen to look like a king and only have access to kings. He could have chosen to look like a Pharisee, so he talked to the Pharisees. But he chose to look like everyone else. And he chose to hang out with everyone else. And in so doing, especially in John's gospel, where we get really personal stories of his interactions and discourses with people, people walked away permanently changed. And it was because they did not have any walls up in their primary interactions with him. They see this man who looks approachable, who looks like them, often mistaken as just some dude, not this great prophet that was causing all this buzz around Jerusalem or Galilee or Capernaum. So I do have to say it is the way that we look is on purpose. Like it is carefully thought out to me. And I'm not play acting at this personality that I'm presenting to people, but I'm also not trying to hide it, because the type of people I want to see at our concerts are the kids I do see in the front row.
Yeah.
like visible cuts on their arms, a visible aura of brokenness. And I watch God transform these people before my eyes throughout the night as we share the encouragement through music, through scripture, through proclaiming the gospel and giving them an invitation to respond in prayer to salvation. And, you know, I couldn't care less if the people who are our critics want to stand in the back and cross their arms and harumph until they're out of breath. The people I want always come up to the front, and they always come up because they see people that they want to talk to. They want to look like us. They want to be like us. And we have what the world doesn't. We have the light of Christ shining through our cracks, you know, like all the flaws that I have, all the cracked areas of my life. Jesus shines through all that. And he, you know, sort of like a bug light. Like people are just coming towards, they want to come.
Yeah, man.
You know,
That's good, man. That's
So
good.
Seth said you were talking about Christ and he could have, you know, been all these things, but he came like normal dude. So what you're saying is Jesus was just a face in a sea of faces.
Wow, go home. Just seriously.
Sea of
that's
Faces,
enough.
write it down.
Sea of
Sea of
That's
Faces.
an album.
That's-
My God.
Darn it.
Seth, well played, friend.
Oh, man. People are chiming in left and right. Somebody said Draw Me Close is one of my all-time favorite worship songs. That song comes back to me all the time. Don't listen
Praise
to the
God.
hate. Somebody else said, gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for today's show. It's been amazing. James is wonderful. Your conversations, especially about loving difficult people, have really spoken to my heart. God bless you all. Thanks for the station and all you do.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
You have to
And
treat
yet
it as
it's
noise.
what we're
it's
called.
noise in the
But
background.
I mean to pray for those that persecute you, to
Totally.
love
Yeah.
them,
Right.
like while they are trying to destroy your character
That's right.
and your faith
But-
and who you are.
But you don't have to put yourself in a position where you're going to continue to be attacked. For
Right.
instance, this
Yeah.
person, the website we were talking about, and I really don't want to camp out on that much
Nah.
longer because
Nah,
I don't
man.
want to draw attention to that
Nah.
kind of behavior. But I have never personally gone out face to face with him. But I have prayed for him all these years.
Yeah.
I don't need to put myself in a position of conflict with this man. He will probably never listen to me. I don't think it would be healthy if we ever had a chance
Well,
to
it
talk.
could be the same situation on Facebook or
Sure.
Instagram when
Yep.
you're leaving a comment.
Yeah,
Somebody's
yeah.
trying to trash you, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
We don't need to
just
interject.
delete that comment and
Sure,
just
move
go
on.
pray for that person.
Totally.
You know, and James says something important about meeting someone in person. You know, before you trash someone or say something unwholesome about someone else, give the person an opportunity just to respond or reach out or meet them or say, hey, I just wanted to meet you. I just wanted to let you know I'm going to trash you here in a second. Do you have anything to respond? but you know, honestly, if you met someone and you understood their heart and where they're coming from and you
Right.
get a sense of who they are, you'll probably be less apt to trash them.
Oh yeah.
Even-
Well, I mean,
even
we're all still
non-Christians.
finding who we are. You know.
Right.
Stop.
Well, no, but I'm saying
Stop.
even non-Christians, you know, if you were just to reach out and sit down and hear their story, you'd go, oh, I get it. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love,
Dude.
love leads.
Love leads. All right, that's another
That's a
band
good one. Write it
name.
down. Love leads.
Leads.
Love
But except
bleeds.
people would look at that and be like, "Wait, love leads? Like
No, love
like
bleeds.
like
No,
leads?
love
like
bleeds
like
down.
Spell it
that's
like the
poisonous.
city in England.
Hey guys,
there you go.
I got to
Yeah.
take James.
I
We're-
gotta steal him, bro. We got
he's
30 minutes left.
No, you guys, you know, you've exhausted this poor guy.
He doesn't want to leave.
You know, you've brought him here. You're
Boys.
not paying any
Boys.
money. You
Stop
know.
fighting over me. I turned into Christopher Walken.
Boys.
Stop fighting over me.
Somebody said thank you for pursuing this, James. The hard
Thank
rock
you.
/ metalhead communities are easily overlooked by the church, but they
Yeah.
need Jesus desperately, man.
Amen. Amen.
Somebody else said you are one legit dude.
Thank you.
One
Mom.
legit dude writing
Thanks,
it down.
Mom.
That's
I
all.
love
Yeah.
you.
That's good.
She just learned the word legit.
Yeah.
She's trying to use it a lot.
Incredible.
All right. Well, James, we'll let you go.
Bye. I love you guys.
Oh, it was
Love
great
you.
hanging out with you. James from Cutlass, everybody. Look them up. They're a classic rock band.
Up there with the
Forever.
Gaithers and
Just some classic
early Amy
rock for
Grant.
ya.
Yeah.
Classic rock and roll.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We're live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
For over 40 years, La Salita Restaurant has been serving New Mexican food to Albuquerque. From starters like soups, salads, and Cindy nachos to entrees like chili rellenos, burrito de Eduardo, the BOG burrito, and carne adobada. La Salita is friendly to those who are vegan or gluten-free and offers catering, as well as a rewards program. at 1950 Wansabo or online at lasalita.com. Star 88 thanks La Salita for their support.
Star 88 thanks the Rain Tunnel Car Spa for becoming a power partner and supporting this hour of programming. The Rain Tunnel Car Spa with 3 and soon 4 Albuquerque locations, providing car washes, detailing, and gasoline. RainTunnelCarspa.com.
Danny Goki with this message. Dear skeptics, believe in God because of who He is and not because of who we are. We fall and mess up, but He never fails. The Star 88 Solar Flare.
Broken glass on the floor. This is who I was before. They said this is who I'll always be. This is who I'll always be. Take me back and start me over. I'm still young, I'm still dying, I'm still nothing. If it's me that you want, I'm not sure that you want it that much. Broken glass on the floor. This is who I was before. They said this is who I'll always be. A wasted space, a wasted life. It hit me later on the stairs. I've mattered all this time. I've mattered all this time.
Furtick makes it come alive in this Star PowerPoint.
God doesn't just give you a grace to save you. He gives you a special grace for your grind. God does not just give grace to a preacher when he stands in a pulpit. He gives grace for negotiation in a boardroom. If that's your place, that's your grace. God has given you a particular grace. It is custom designed to fit in the space where God has assigned you. Paul said it was his grace to me. His grace to me. Verse 3, I passed on to you that which was given to me. The grace that God gave me, I re-gifted it to you. That's all I did. I get weary when I try to pass on to others what God did not give to me.
That's a PowerPoint on Star 88. Hey, what's going on in the news today?
The Paris knife attacker's name is Kamzat Azimov and was on the nationwide database of radicalized people. Police say he was born in the majority Muslim Russian Republic of Chechnya. His parents are being questioned.
Avengers Infinity War maintaining its staying power on top of the movie box office, another $61.8 million in week number 3.
Canada is going to be competing with all of those other places that it provides the weather information to by developing its own mobile weather app.
Atlantic hurricanes often get the attention due to their proximity to the U.S., but occasionally Pacific storms wreak havoc too. Some can threaten Hawaii, others may lose their cohesion, but the remaining rains can drench and flood the American Southwest.
A girl is hospitalized with serious injuries after being attacked by a bear outside her home near Grand Junction, Colorado. The girl's mother telling wildlife officers that her daughter went outside around 2:30 a.m. to investigate noises she thought might be related to her dog. The mother then heard screaming and found her daughter being dragged by a large black bear. The bear dropped the girl after the mom began screaming at the animal.
Gosh. Bears are no joke, I tell you. Welcome to the show, everybody. Dex and Steve-O, Morning Invasion. Being brought to you by Preston Hart. Screen printing, live printing, graphic design, PrestonHart.com. Stormy, how you doing? You doing all right? Margot, Derek, Seth, what's up? Welcome to the show. Facebook Live, YouTube Live. You can go watch the show. Download the free Star 88 app. Stream us live. Shout out to James from Cutlass hanging out with us, dude, for most of the show. What a great dude. Really is.
For real. As one of the most genuine homies I know. I love him so much.
Yep. That's the real deal right there.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about your mama jokes? No?
I was just looking at all this and I'm like, we have so many things that we didn't even get to touch on yet today. Tomorrow's show is going to be crazy. I'll just say that.
And Wednesday's show and Thursdays, because it's already planned out.
We got it, guys.
Tell you what.
I really want to talk about this, but I feel like this is such a big one. We got to save it for tomorrow.
You want to save it for tomorrow?
I mean, I feel like...
Is that a big one?
That's a big one.
Okay.
Let's think about this. What's the number one video game in America right now?
Oh, Fortnite. Fortnite is.
Fortnite, guys. Fortnite's the devil's lettuce.
That's the devil's playground right there. Yeah, seriously.
Oh, can we talk about man's best friend? We have a few man's best friend stories.
Yeah, I didn't really feel like that one was a good one.
Not the saving of the lives, the fact that it's a danger to society. And we got to be careful because we're in a time where, you know, it's like gun reform, gun control, giving your dogs guns. And I just think that if we're not careful and we give our dogs guns, we're going to end up like this dude.
No, it's, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Guys, your dog could shoot you.
This is true. They say it's man's best friend, but even best friends have fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get into an argument. Somebody talks about the greatest television series of all time. You say it's Friends. They say it's Lassie. A scuffle happens, and next thing you know, you get shot by your dog.
Yep. Richard, he's 51. He was taken to the hospital, and this isn't a serious injury. Thank goodness, because
every gunshot is serious.
Quote, "My dog shot me," is what Richard said. Police and Unity Point Health were called to Richard's home at about 10:50 a.m. I carry. It's a Ruger 9mm, and it's got a safety on it. That's what Richard said. I was lying on the couch. We were horsing around, me and my dog, and I was tossing him off my lap, and he was jumping back on my lap.
Like a good, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
I carry in a belly band under my bib overalls. Oh, my God. And apparently, the dog bumped the safety one time, and when he bounded back over one of his toes, it went right down onto the trigger guard. It has a trigger safety as well as a thumb safety, and he managed to hit both of them, and it discharged and went into my leg. Thank goodness it didn't do any major damage. But his dog shot him. His dog shut the safety off and then actually pulled the trigger.
Here's the crazy thing. When they interrogated the dog had a completely different story.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Pew, 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 pew.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, talk about a rough situation.
Okay. He has a license to carry and a license for the gun, is what Porter said. It was a freak thing. Never heard of anything like that happening. I've heard of guns dropping and going off on the floor, but horsing around, playing with your dog and the dog shutting the safety off and then managing to pull the trigger, that's insane.
Okay, all joking aside, if you have a firearm, if you have your concealed carry, if you keep it someplace and you have children, let this story be a reminder of the dangers and the precautions that need to be taken if you have one in your home.
Yeah.
This dog jumped on him, somehow removed the safety, and somehow his paw also hit the trigger safety, and he was able to discharge the 9mm into the dude's leg.
Right.
Dogs don't even have opposable thumbs, guys.
No, they don't. No.
All right.
It's,
don't even have opposable thumbs. But they're shooting 9mm into their owner's legs. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, right?
I'll tell you what.
He said he didn't feel the shot in his leg at first. He only felt a painful burn on his belly. Then he saw his pant leg was turning purple. He says, I'm looking around to see where it went, and I realized that it went in my leg. That's when I called 911.
Muffler Man Dave from Santa Fe says, what's next? When dogs have guns, they're going to take us hunting and make us fetch the game or what?
Yep.
Huh? I'll tell you what.
I tell you what.
How's it going?
I tell you what. Hi.
I heard McGruff was the lead detective.
Oh, gosh. Oh. God.
I have a good one.
Okay,
you
bye.
too.
That's pretty funny.
Rodney says, now that's a K9mm. Am I right? K9mm. Okay.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I kind of agree with a member of the Star Me on YouTube Live who said something sounds fishy about that. Like, really, the dog was able to pounce on him, turn off the safety, pounce on him again, and hit the trigger guard. Like, somehow the trigger safety, and then it takes quite a bit of force for my 9mm.
Yeah.
There's no, yeah.
I don't know. I can see the safety. That seems doable. Yeah, but you're right. The trigger.
Yeah.
I don't know. Think he was. Do you think that's the excuse that he gave?
Maybe he was just acting a fool and like accidentally shot himself in the leg, and he's like, my dog did it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to be that guy on the news.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, Tamara says, are you sure he's not protecting someone with the dog ate my homework story?
Right?
We don't know. We don't know. Somebody said, was it a golden retriever? Because I gave my family chili secret to my dog, and he keeps spilling the bean.
Ah!
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I would imagine he was practicing his quick draw. Because there's a video. Have you seen that one video where the guy was doing that? He was practicing his quick draw, and he pulled it out, and he shot himself in the leg.
See?
And he starts freaking out.
Somebody said at least it wasn't a shotgun. Might have filled his owner full of bark shot. Am I right? Bark shot. Instead of buckshot, get it? Oh, gosh. These are so bad, guys. I want James back. I want James. I want to talk about Ukraine.
How about your mama jokes? You want to do that?
No, Somebody else says, why was he still carrying while laying on the couch? Another really good question.
Yeah, you know what?
There's a lot of questions with this story.
He is lying. There's no way. Yeah, when you sit down and if you had your gun right here tucked in your belly.
Yeah, that is so stupid.
Unless you were laying back.
I don't know. Somebody said, yeah, he shot himself. Thank you, Marcos. I agree. There's literally no way.
Yeah, he shot himself playing the dog.
No way.
Yep.
This happened. Somebody said, my safety on my 9mm would be pretty impossible for a dog to turn off. For real.
Yep.
I got a 9mm Smith & Wesson, man. There ain't no way a dog pulling that trigger.
You got a 9mm?
I got a 9mm Smith & Wesson.
A 9mm?
Yep.
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 Got the thing locked up?
Yeah. You are my strong tower. Am I the only one that does this? When you have friends in like bands or you know somebody, like, or you see, it doesn't have to be a friend, like you just see somebody. Still to this day, when Steven comes around, inevitably I start humming an Amberlin track in my brain. Still.
Huh. Nah, I don't do that.
I see him and it's just like, doop, 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 doop. I'm going to have Strong Tower in my head for 4 weeks now.
That's one of the catchiest songs ever.
It is really catchy. It's really, really catchy. So
you are my strong tower.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep. Somebody said the guy was probably drunk and just wanted to blame the dog.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. That's true.
Somebody said in an interview with the dog, he was asked what it was like living with his owner, and the dog's response was rough.
Rough.
These are just so bad.
So bad.
Somebody else said, man, shot himself in the leg. Did he immediately go see a dog tour?
Oh. Goodness sakes. Goodness sakes. I can't even with that one.
We gotta move on.
I don't know if we should, man. Keep them coming, guys.
Oh, what kind of dog was it? Do we know what kind of dog it was?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
Man's best friend.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Pew, pew, pew,
As
pew.
Rodney said, it was a K9mm.
Yeah, he even said in the story that his dog felt bad afterwards. Okay.
His dog felt bad.
I can't.
Move on.
Good news, ladies and gentlemen.
Good news is good news, and the good news is...
I've got good news and good news. Pretty good.
Put some good in your morning.
Good news, there's a monkey jumping on houses in the neighborhood.
All right, we'll stick to the theme of dogs in this next story. Someone's garage caught fire in northwest Indiana on Tuesday while they weren't home.
That is good news.
We'll be right back after this. What if that was like how you ended everything? Someone's garage caught fire in northwest Indiana on Tuesday while they weren't home. And we'll be right back. Right after these messages. Might have been started by a heat lamp. 7 dogs trapped inside.
Oh my gosh.
All 7 of them were Labrador retrievers, and 2 were pregnant. Turned out the person who lived there owns a dog breeding business. That's why they had so many dogs. Apparently, all the dogs were unconscious when first responders got there, and they were suffering from smoke inhalation. But luckily, they had a bunch of oxygen masks made specifically for pets, and they had enough of them to save every single dog.
No way.
That's pretty cool, right?
That is good.
One of the dogs was in worse shape than the others, so a cop had to rush it to the vet in their squad car while a firefighter did CPR in the back seat. And even that dog survived. It turns out the fire department has the masks because some random dog lover donated them about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And this was the 3rd time they've used them to save an animal's life.
That's awesome.
In this case, to save 7.
7 animals.
7 dogs.
They believe it was due to a heat lamp, but really a fight broke out. One dog pulled a gun, and it just got crazy.
It happens. It happens.
Somebody said, oh my gosh, 7 dogs trapped inside, and the woof is on fire.
Oh, man. and we'll be right back after this. Should have went to break.
We're out of show, man.
We should have
That's
quit
it.
it. We should have quit it. Should have just went home.
Doggone it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You know what? Oh, wrong one. Hold on.
So we got.
See, we're done.
Oh, I've missed our show. Somebody said that poor dog, man, probably going to get a really bad progress report this week.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of dogs, did you guys get a new dog?
No.
Who was that?
We get a new dog.
Okay.
Why?
Because you were posting, were you guys house sitting?
Oh, I was walking that little miniature
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I thought finally Chrissy talked you into it.
No, dude.
What?
No.
Oh.
No. However, it was a cute little lap dog, and a friend of ours got a new dog, and I was walking it. Yeah. So James, who was in here earlier, got a gorgeous dog, and I immediately was like, I want that dog. We were FaceTiming the dog yesterday. It's a golden doodle. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think I know.
It's like a poodle golden retriever.
Yeah.
It's huge. Beautiful.
You don't want another big dog.
I do, though. The one that doesn't shed.
Oh.
Because Rocket, it's summertime, and it's like, he's like, I'm going nude! And like just hair everywhere. And it doesn't matter how much I brush him or how much I vacuum his hair off of him or how much I make him sleep outside and don't talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
You got to get a little dog.
There's hair everywhere.
You have to.
I know.
Hey, and just a friendly reminder, it's getting hot out there, so if you could make sure not walk your dog when it's 80
burns
degrees
their paws.
and above, because, the sidewalk is hot.
Yeah.
Burns their paws.
Yeah.
Burns their little paws. So be careful of that. You can actually get little shoes for your dog if you want to walk them in the heat, but I don't know. People just don't think about those things, you know? All right, we're done. We out of here. Guys, if you missed any of the show, it's on demand. It'll be up on Facebook and YouTube as soon as we upload the show here at 10. We're on demand through the app, so you can get us through there. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Star88.fm. Thanks again to James, guitarist from Cutlass, hanging out with us this morning. What a cool dude. And pray for him and his family, and man, they're doing some pretty big things, so they could always use your prayers. Thank you, Starmy. Man, enjoy your Monday, right? Brand new week. If you guys need us, we're always here for you. Hit us up anytime through our Facebook pages, Star88 on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you guys need. We're always here for you. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
That's all we got. There ain't no more. That's right. Time is tight. It's the end of the show.
Levi Lusko from Fresh Life Church in Montana will be at the pulpit of Calvary Church Albuquerque the weekend of May 19th.
I think sometimes when it comes to the new year and all of our planning for change and all of our hopes for transformation,